12 Pac-10 doubleheader. The fourth-ranked team in the nation, QB Eric Crouch. Last week he made a 95-yard Heisman statement. Darren Diedrich, punishing running back with 7 TDs. Between these two headliners, their 13 touchdowns make Nebraska the #1 rushing team in the nation. The Iowa State Cyclones, undefeated, averaging 39 points a game. Senior running back Ennis Haywood and the Big 12's top passer Seneca Wallace give the Clones an awesome 1-2 punch. Lincoln will be rolling tonight, but in the desert, Oregon's Mr. Comeback, QB Jordan Hamilton, leads the 7th-ranked Ducks into unfriendly territory for a Pac-10 showdown against Arizona.
Well, let's get this party started.
Now, it's time for Crouch and Friends as Nebraska goes prime time. Undefeated Iowa State and the 4th-ranked Huskers, live from Lincoln on Fox Sports Net.
It's time for Big 12 football on Fox Sports Net. Kia Sarah presents College Football Saturday. From Lincoln, Nebraska, the 4th-ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers play host to the 3-0 Cyclones of Iowa State. Hi, everybody. I'm Joel Myers alongside James Lofton, and welcome to Lincoln. A matchup tonight of 2 of the hottest quarterbacks, not only in the Big 12, but the entire country. Seneca Wallace comes in, James, as the Big 12's Offensive Player of the Week, while Eric Crouch put together the best numbers of his entire career last week at Mizzou.
Yeah, but I think a little different slant for these two quarterbacks. With Eric Crouch, he's been running the ship for 4 years, and hopefully his run will end with the Heisman Trophy. Seneca Wallace, well, he's only been on the job 4 weeks, and this will be the toughest week out of those 4 weeks against Nebraska.
And a pretty good matchup of 2 other quarterbacks, the guys that call the defensive signals, the middle linebackers for the 2 squads.
Yeah, they'll be trying to shadow their counterparts on offense. And Matt Ward, well, he went out and got number 7, so he'd be close to Eric Crouch. And on the other side, a kid who got out of Ames, Iowa, Jamie Burrow, the leading tackler for the Huskies, and look at 11 tackles versus Notre Dame, his kind of coming out party.
This is only the second road game of the season, the second road test of the year for Iowa State. The first, it was against the Bobcats of Ohio University before 24,000. Just a bit different tonight, 77,000 at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. 44th consecutive sellout, an NCAA record at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. And joining us now, the 3rd member of our team, Eric Clemens. Eric.
All right, Joel, thank you very much. You know, for the past 3 decades, Nebraska football has been synonymous with that power ground game. Change the names every year. This year, it's Darren Diedrich. Leads the team with 5.3 yards per carry and averages almost 20 carries a game. But since the formation of the Big 12 Conference, only one team has produced a 1,000-yard rusher every year. That's Iowa State. The Davis brothers did damage in the past, and for the past couple of years, it's been Ennis Haywood. Leads the conference this year, averaging almost 133 yards per game. For the Cyclones to have a chance to stay close early, they've got to give some holes to Ennis the Menace. We're just about ready at a wild Lincoln Memorial Stadium for some football. Should be a good one. We'll have the opening kickoff for you coming up in just a few moments.
It is in the mid-50s. Leaves are just starting to turn. Sweater weather, sweatshirt weather, except for Dan McCarney in his 7th season. His boiler's running a little high right now with good reason. Looking for his first ever win against the Cornhuskers. Last time they beat them, 1992 in Ames. Well, Frank Zoldich's life, for the most part, it's been here. 4 years as the Nebraska head coach, 15 years as their running backs coach. Before that, 4 years as the freshman coach. Taking over for the legendary Tom Osborne. Josh Brown has won the kicking battle over the last couple of weeks. Going back deep, it'll be Jermaine Billups and Hiawatha Rutland. And we are underway in Lincoln. 6, 7 yards, almost 8 yards deep. Billups will stay there. And here comes Seneca Wallace. The Kia Sarah starting lineups offensively. First for the Cyclones of Iowa State. Junior from Sacramento. Junior college transfer from Sacramento City College. Marcel Howard, Bob Montgomery, Zach Butler, Lorenzo White, and Corey Hannon up front. Not a huge group, a quick one though. Ennis the Menace Haywood. Eric just talking about him. Whitfer, Danielson, Rumi starting at wide receiver. Mike Banks, the one they call Manimal, the senior from Ogden, Iowa. 6'4", 255 is the starting tight end, and here we go. They are pumped up. 244 straight sellouts, 17 consecutive wins. And Iowa State begins at their own 20. Dump off, available, Banks, big yardage, past the 25, the manimal they call him. He's got it to the 36. Scott Chandler, the strong side linebacker, knocks him out of bounds. Big yardage on first down. Defensively for the Cornhuskers, one of the best in the nation. Kelsey, Clanton, Schlechter, and Des Moines Adams up front. Chandler, who just made the stop, he's the defensive player of the week in the Big 12. 8 stops last week at Missouri. Craver, Gross on the corners, experience there. Booker and Bland are the safeties.
And Iowa State did a great job on first down and kind of neutralizing the speed of Nebraska with the misdirection.
16 yards on first down. 3 wide receivers set. And it's the menace Haywood weaving his way for a first down. Plenty of yardage. He's down inside the 45 to the 44, tripped up by Philip Bland. Great blocking by the tackle on that side, James.
You know, when you see a hole that big, you know that at the point of attack, the guys are getting it done. There is big number 75, Marcel Howard. His long arms, he extends those arms on Scott Chandler, and it's a huge gaping hole for Hayward. I bet Hayward didn't think he'd get a hole that big. You saw him stumble as he's running, going, there's got to be somebody around here to hit me.
Howard, a former walk-on, has turned out to be a 3-year starter. Young man from Davenport, Iowa. From their own 22 snaps all the way to the 44 of the Cornhuskers. Movement on the left side. Brought off Jeremy Schlechter. It may have been Howard, the left tackle, who moved early.
The snap, false start on the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty and remains first down.
Saw Marcel Howard on first down getting it done with that running play. Well, here's the scouting report on him. We saw his long arms, and he likes to lock up on the run block. You saw that in the smarts. Well, he's a biology major. Said he was a former walk-on. Well, he'll be walking to medical school next.
I like that story. Mark off with 5 on first down. Back to the 49. Waters out of the gun. Will he have enough time? Too tall for his target on the far side of the field. Going for Lane Danielson, their leading wide receiver, the sophomore from Dike, Iowa. Seneca Wallace last week, 22 of 24, James. 18 straight completions, a new Big 12 record.
But we saw on the penalty play and on that play, sometimes your emotions can get the best of you. Now he's the Big 12 player of the week. A lot riding on his shoulders. He comes in here, this sea of red, which is not pampered with the gold that's Iowa State. These people are here for Nebraska, and it's a little louder, so I think he'll be more effective under the center than he is in the gun with the signal count. 2nd and 15
from the 49. Option, nowhere to go for Wallace. Wrapped up by Chris Kelsey, the left end. The junior from Auburn, Nebraska. And I'm told, James, that you do get a citizen's arrest, a citation here, if you don't come in with at least some garment wearing red.
You know, and there's a lot of red here today. And you'll see on this play, it's not there at the point of attack. You just have to pitch the ball, get rid of it. Don't let number 98, Damani Adams, make you hesitate. You know, always heard that he who hesitates has time to reconsider. Well, in that time, he who hesitates is just lost.
It's a loss on the play of 3 yards. This Nebraska defense, second best, third best in scoring, giving up only 7 points a game. Wallace looking for time, and it's intercepted, picked off by Craver. With a block, will he go the distance? No. He's barely bumped out, I believe. No, they'll get it to him after all. It looked like Seneca Wallace knocked him out. Touchdown, Nebraska.
Just a little bit off the mark. He's trying to hit number 26, Whitver. Whitver almost looks like he stops on his route a little bit. And when Keo Craver gets the ball in his hands, he knows where the end zone is. This guy, when he was in high school, Joel, 86 touchdowns as a high school running back. So he's going, it's about time I got the ball.
He was first team All-State running back in Harleton, Texas. Josh Brown for the point after. What a start in Lincoln for the Cornhuskers, getting points from their defensive unit. So 7-0, Nebraska. And another look back, James.
And here it is. What you're going to try and do, you're going to try and get your inside receiver go out and then come back in. He just kind of stalls on the play, right out here on the outside. He stalls. He should now make his move inside. The ball's thrown inside right past him.
Did he get in?
Big, tough running back. Home field advantage. Left foot, right foot, left foot in.
That's nice, a serious balancing act. Well, the last thing Iowa State needed was exactly what we just saw. They've been outscored their last 3 trips to Lincoln 79-6 in the first quarter.
Well, they had a good first drive going. Then they have the illegal procedure penalty on first down. They have the loss on the option. They put themselves in a hole, a down and distance hole that I'm sure Steve Looney, the offensive coordinator, did not want to be in.
So the Nebraska defense scores first against an Iowa State team that is only giving up 9 points a game. They're 5th best in the nation. In scoring defense, Brown kicks away again to Phillips. And Iowa at the Rutland doesn't make any difference. Boy, Josh Brown doing an outstanding job in a battle for the kickoff duties and place kicking duties overall with Zenaro DeAngelis, a freshman. And DeAngelis started the season as their first team kicker. Keo Craver coming up with the score. The young man we were talking about, a former running back. Honorable mention, all Big 12 last season.
And a nice thing that we don't have on our little Jumbotron there is he graduates in December.
3 career touchdowns for Craver. That's his first off an interception. He's had a couple on block punts. First down, Iowa State. Shell shot Cyclones at their own 20. Haywood. He's got about 3. He's a senior from Carter High School in Dallas. Put down by Ryan Bingham, the sophomore from Sandy, Utah.
So if you're on Iowa State sideline, you just got to take a deep breath and go, okay, down 7-0. No need to panic. Let's get back to our game plan, a little misdirection. And Seneca Wallace is going to be better on the edges than he is in the pocket. We talked to Craig Bohl, defensive coordinator. He said, well, one thing is he's a little short, so we want to get our hands up when he is in the middle of the pocket.
Not a tall guy, 6'1", 185-pounder. 2nd and 7 to work out of the shotgun. Quarterback draw all the way. Good run. He averages 9 a carry, and he's got a first down going out of bounds at his own 33, forced out by Lornell McPherson, the freshman from Omaha.
Nice job in the middle guards, Bob Montgomery and Lowenzo White. All they have to do is just kick their guys to the outside. They want them outside. Just move them, move them, move them. Really, run north and south. Get the big yards. You're going to get big yardage because what he has to realize, Seneca Wallace, is now all these guys in the secondary is just as fast as he is. So straight up the field, north and south. May take a couple of hits, but you're going to get more yardage.
First down, Iowa State, trailing by 7 after the turnover. Almost 3 minutes gone in the opening 15 minutes of play. They just need to survive the first half. Keep it close. Give themselves a chance. Wallace floating it deep on a jump ball and off the fingertips of his wide receiver. He's trying to get it to Lane Danielson once again. Erwin Sweeney over there on the coverage.
Well, Nebraska has 3 good cover cornerbacks. We saw Keo Craver already, DeJuan Gross, number 5, and number 16, Erwin Sweeney, who had been a 3-year starter, kind of got bumped out of the starting job with Deion Gross, but all 3 of these guys could see themselves playing on Sunday one day. Sweeney really does have the best speed out of the group.
And James, as you mentioned, a 3-year starter before he was knocked out of the starting lineup this year.
Well, he's had some injuries, so I think a healthier guy just really beat him out.
2nd and 10 from the 33. Danielson in motion. Haywood up the middle, and he's got another first down. You know, we were just talking about the defensive coordinator for the Cornhuskers yesterday, and when Coach Bohl talked about Ennis and then Haywood, he said he's got better study stuff now. He's not so straight ahead anymore. He'll let people slide by.
I think because he's become more powerful, and with the good season that he had last year, where he rushed for over 1,200 yards, he's more confident. So he says, I can let the hole develop. I don't have to rush myself getting into the hole.
Another first down on the ground for the 2nd consecutive time.
Got to pass outside here.
Running the option. 'Haywood taking on Keo Craver. 2 And looking at the top 10 and how they fared, and there's plenty from the Big 12 in the top 10. Great battle at the Cotton Bowl. Texas falling 14-3 as Oklahoma prevailed, got a score on a late turnover.
And how about the Tennessee-Georgia game, where they have 21 points scored in the last 90 seconds of play?
And Georgia scored with 5 seconds to play to win that game. And coming up later on Fox Sports Net, don't forget, after our matchup, Oregon featuring quarterback Joey Harrington taking on the Wildcats of Arizona in Tucson. That's up next on Fox Sports Net. Second and about 5. Good blocking for Wallace. Well timed. Going after Lane Danielson. Was he inbounds? No.
When you're on the boundary like that, the key thing that you want to do, you want to extend your arms as far as you can so that you give yourself a chance to stay in bounds. Receivers will catch it in their body. He extends his arms and drags. You don't do that very often in college football. It's 1 foot in bounds. In the NFL, it's 2. And there's Eric Clements. He's just trying to duck out of the way. I thought Eric was going to lay him out, but then all of a sudden those instincts came back and he says, no, I'm a reporter.
We could not afford to lose Clemens this early in the game. We almost had a casualty on the sideline. Who's the reserve sideline guy? 3rd and 5. Floating over the middle, in and out of the hands of his intended target. Trying to get it. He was going for Jamal Montgomery, and McPherson behind the play almost came up with an interception. Let's head downstairs. Eric Clemens, you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I thought I was gone there for a minute. He gained on me pretty fast. But I tell you what, this is a very, very important game for Iowa State, guys. They average losing under McCarney 57-15 of these guys. They think they're better. Everybody's written that they're better. But they have to show it here because the road runs through Lincoln if you want to do anything in the Big 12 North, guys.
Absolutely, as DeJuan Gross waits for the punt from Tony Yelk, averaging 45 per try. Gross on the run with momentum, and what a week he had last week. There he goes, across the 45. DeJuan Gross, the Big 12's Special Teams Player of the Week. After a phenomenal week against Mizzou, picks up right where he left off. Nebraska in great shape, super field position, leading by 7. Nebraska gets it offensively for the first time after the 34-yard return by DeJuan Gross. Well, 1st and 10 is brought to you by the American Red Cross. Please help the American Red Cross assist the victims of their terrorist attack and their families. You can help by calling 1-800-HELP-NOW or visiting redcross.org. Diedrich and Davies comprise the backfield. The classic I sets of Nebraska, their power I formation. Running the option. Diedrich tripped up, going up the back into the legs of his own man, the blocker, Judd Davies, the sophomore from Omaha. Diedrich, junior tailback, down after a gain of maybe a yard. Offensively, Arceus Harris starting 11. Eric Crouch coming off that great day against Missouri. 95-yard run, the longest in Nebraska history last Saturday. Protected by a massive, almost NFL-type offensive line we'll be talking about tonight. Take a look after the next snap. It'll be 2nd and 9 at the 48. Couple of wings. Crouch keeps it. What a shot. Look at the man maneuver. He's got a first down to the 30-yard line. We're talking about that huge offensive line. Had help with a couple of wings. Volk, Benoti, Garrison, Rutherford, and Waldrop. Up front, protecting Eric Crouch. And to the backfield, Darren Diedrich with Judd Davies, Gibson, Thomas, wideouts, and Tracy Wistrom, their all-time leading receiver at the tight end position already. With so much time left in his senior season, younger brother of Grant Wistrom of the St. Louis Rams. Crouch again. Boy, is he hungry. He wants the ball himself. One-man gang right now. Another gain of a little bit better than 10. Brought down by the outside linebacker, Jeremy Lloyd. 4-3 alignment. Kyocera first 11 defensively for Iowa State. Smith, Karstens, Judd, Kevin Durante up front, and Lloyd, Word, Eilers. Word coming off a sensational game last week against Baylor. On the corners, Johnny Smith III, Lateef Austin, and Mark Timmons and Adam Runk. A great all-round athlete at the safety positions. Another first down at the 20 on this drive that started at Iowa State's 49. Crouch on the late fix. Dietrich, first and goal at the 2 when we come back.
Ball carried by Dietrich.
Well, we'll keep it right here. Rung forced him out.
Dietrich run out of bounds by number 7, Matt Ward.
Short field has not hurt Nebraska.
Boy, a fantastic pulling guard, Tony Quinotti, 6'4". I don't want to say 340 because I know he weighs a heck of a lot more than that. But here he is. Watch him pull and get in space. And when he does, he gets not one, but 2 pancake blocks on one play. Knocks down 2 defenders.
Full house. Dietrich untouched. Touchdown, Nebraska. Way too easy on their first offensive possession. A short field of only 49 yards. Josh Brown in for the extra point. Young man from Foyle, Oklahoma. The number 4 team in the nation looking like they want to become number 1 before the end of the night. All Nebraska, all red. 14-0 Cornhuskers. Scoring drive obviously took a lot out of the Cornhuskers. 96 seconds worth. Darren Dietrich with the 2-yard touchdown run. Way too easy at the beginning. Josh Brown kicking it for the 3rd time already. This time it is going to be returned. No. Hiawatha Rutland says to Jermaine Phillips, stay right there. College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net, brought to you by Captain Eric Clemens. Back in the 3rd largest city, actually, in the state of Nebraska. Omaha's number 1, Lincoln's number 2, and on any given Saturday, 77,000 strong Memorial Stadium's number 3. Michael Wagner in for Ennis Haywood. Stop, no gain. Dr. Pepper game break time. Let's go to our College Football Saturday studio with Kevin Frazier.
So they're 2-0, Joel.
Thanks, Kevin. It's amazing because Bill Snyder and Kansas State, it seems like they never lose at home. But they were shut down today by the Buffaloes. Out of the backfield, Michael Wagner, the sophomore from West Covina, California, out of Bishop Amat High School with guard yardage. They've been running successfully early. They get 8 on that, James.
We talked to Dan McCarney yesterday. He said, we do want to establish the run. He said, these guys are really tough against the run. But I really believe if you're Nebraska, you watched film last week, you watched the quarterback complete 22 out of 24. So you're thinking, yeah, on the edges, we're going to have to stop them. But they really have pierced him with the run. What they haven't been able to do is get any payout of the drive. They throw an interception that gets run back for a touchdown. Then on 3rd down in the previous drive, they don't complete a pass on 3rd and 5.
No tight end in this set. 4 wide receivers. And a running back. Seneca Wallace will call his own numbers. He spreads the defense. Looks for the quarterback draw. And maneuvers his way to a 1st down. Great footwork by the junior quarterback for Iowa State. Brought down by Mark Bedrell. Television's most unique brand of football commentary returns tomorrow with NFL This Morning on Fox Sports Net. This week, Boomer Esiason will take a look at Brett Favre, Warren Sapp rivalry on CyberStrader. Plus, Moose Darrell Johnson's going to check in for the Vikings-Saints game. NFL This Morning. Pre-game show that's not really a pre-game show. That's tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, right here on Fox Sports Net. That was a must for Iowa State. They couldn't go 3 and out with a punt. Down by 14 already. Nifty moves. Michael Wagner again. And he's got about 4 on 1st down. Close to the 36.
Iowa State has done a nice job in mixing up formations. They've gone 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. That time 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 1 back. And that guy right there has the ability to, I think, eat a hot dog that big.
They don't have any fun here in Lincoln. That's the problem. They take themselves way too seriously.
Is he shooting hot dogs into the stands?
I'm ready for a Frankfurter. Caught it 2nd and 7. A little more than 6 minutes left. Wallace sees something. Almost got away. What a save by Mark Bedrell, the weak side linebacker. Otherwise, another 1st down.
The one thing you don't want to do with a guy who is quick is overrun him. That time, a little bit of a run blitz. He gets blocked out by Lorenzo White. Well, Lorenzo White can also block out the Sun. You have to almost go head up on a guy like Lorenzo White and then make the quarterback run around. You don't give the quarterback that automatic hole by taking away one side.
Another key early 3rd down for Iowa State. Third and a long 3. Wallace looking for the slant, and it's knocked away from Craig Campbell. Flag comes down on Keo Craver, though.
Well, when we talked to Steve Looney, he said one of the things about the secondary for Nebraska is they are aggressive. They're very physical down the field. We're going to talk to the officials before the game and hopefully get some calls. And that wasn't a call they needed to talk about. Just a little bit too fast of a break by Keo Craver. Once you've got one pick, you want more, though.
He is trying to jump in front of the wide receiver. Keo Craver has already returned one. 57 yards for the first touchdown of the game for Nebraska.
You know, I understand the discussion here. What they're talking about, the defensive back has a right to the football, but you cannot, quote, interfere with the wide receiver. He's run that slant pattern. You can't go through him to get the ball.
Good call, because it did appear he went through
Now
him.
they're going to wave it off.
No flag on the play.
See, if I'm Dan McCarney, I am just livid on the sidelines. Because what it has done now is sets a precedent for what they're able to get away with down the field. There you see the matchup. Craig Campbell, number 19 for Iowa State. Keo Craver. Craver's going to go up, and then he's going to come straight through his man. I think that's defensive pass interference.
Early contact, there was no doubt about that, as Yelk gets ready for his second punt. The redshirt freshman from Arlington, Wisconsin. DeJuan Gross, a 34-yard return to set up that short field of only 49 yards for the offense for their first trip out there. Low line drive, returnable time for Gross. Can't get away, though. Great coverage downfield. Ellis Hobbs, the first one. So a longer field this time for Nebraska. Will it make a difference? Up by 14.
77. Back 14-0. It's the big guy.
The junior from Hawaii is somebody we're going to be watching tonight, James Lofton. We enjoyed the pancake he had to take out, too, is Darren Dietrich, who just went over the 1,000-yard mark for his career. Sizable yardage on first down, almost 7.
Little scouting report on Tony Finotti. You see size, and gets defenders on the ground. That's important here because of the pancake blocks they like to tabulate. And he traps well, which is an easy way of saying he runs well in space. He's going to get 2 guys there, but you know what? That shouldn't count because he weighs as much as those 2 guys put together.
They'll take it, though. Little misdirection. Thunder Collins out of Los Angeles is Manual Arts High School. I love that name. That leads the league already. Run out of bounds by Adam Runk. Right at the first down marker, and he's got it.
And a nice little wrinkle by Nebraska staff there. You know, you think about them just lining up in that eye and running the option. They have a lot of run plays out of this, a lot of different sets, a lot of different personnel groupings. And earlier this summer, we saw Frank Solich at the Big 12 meetings and said, you know, we're gonna open things up a little bit. And by that, he didn't mean we're going to throw it every down, but see the formation, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. Everybody's doing it.
Crouch calls it and takes a thump from the side. Willie Judd, the senior from Bonita, California, with a good clean shot on Eric Crouch. It's the new show that everybody's been talking about, the best damn sports show period, featuring a comedian who's a diehard sports fan and a bunch of ex-jocks who really know the game. The sports comedy, commentary, constantly updated scores and highlights. What more do you want from a show? Introducing the best damn sports show period. It's weeknight 7:30 and 11:30, only on Fox Sports Net.
They got this wing formation from Ohio, who played against Iowa State earlier.
Crouch, Judd Davies, the trainer. Big yardage again with a flag down on the play from deep in the secondary. So he went to the pitch to the sophomore from Omaha for another first down, but let's see about the flag. A break finally for Iowa State.
But you know what's kind of funny about this penalty? This is not a formation that they've had in from day one. They add it in, so they don't practice it a lot.
Holding on the offense. It'll be a 10-yard penalty. Remains second down.
You will do things well that you do often. See the holding on the outside, the wide receiver, number 81, Ben Cornelson.
Johnny Smith III did a good job of selling it, didn't he?
Of course.
Threw his arms up in the air. So Ben Cornelson, the junior from Shawnee, Kansas, the wide receiver trying to block downfield. Eric Crouch, who is graduating in December, said he's very busy right now, but not too busy to savor every moment of his senior season. Very mature young man, a 2-year-old daughter, Alexi, young man who keeps his personal life very private as well. Everything in perspective. Throwing for the first time, and he's got his wide receiver. It's John Gibson, the senior, Papillon, Nebraska.
Boy, nice break on the ball by number 17, Anthony Forrest. This is not a big secondary. I mean, they don't have 200-pounders back there. But what they have developed in the secondary, Bob Elliott's their defensive backfield coach, they have developed speed. And when you talk about closing the gap, Dan McCarney saying, you know, there aren't as many mismatches on paper anymore. We match up a little better. It really does boil down to speed.
Nebraska's hit 49% of their third down attempts over the first 5 this year. This is a 3rd and 5, and it's thrown behind Gibson that time.
Now Crouch ended up on the ground. He took a quick set. I think he set so quickly his offensive lineman thought he was going to go back a little further, and I think Tony Finotti at 360 pounds bumped him a little bit and threw him off.
So first down, starting the drive at their own 24, and now a punt. First of the contest for Nebraska. Kyle Larson, the sophomore, who's done a phenomenal job, a former walk-on, averaging 45 coming in. Punting it away to Michael Wagner. Wagner back at the 15. It was a 14-point ball game. Good hang time. Beauty by Larson. Wagner doesn't call for the fair catch and is pounded by starter Keo Craver. And Frank Solis told us, he said, special teams are so important to us. You'll see a lot of our starters out there on specials.
Well, you have your 2 best defensive players on the outside, Keo Craver, Gross. These guys aren't scrubs. They're not just coming in on special teams. And he said it's about attitude, it's about desire, and really it makes a statement to the rest of the team. Here are 2 of our stars out there, and they're running down as their bullets to cover the front team. And he said, you know, if they get tired, they could come to me, but I look the other way when they tell me they're tired.
And very rarely, he said, do they ever put their hand up like they ask out for a snap. Hayward's back in there, not Wagner at running back. Banks, who's the motion man, the tight end. Move the pocket for Seneca Wallace. And throws it right into the breadbasket of DeJuan Gross.
Pressure. Defensive pressure from number 17, T.J. Hallowell. Seneca Wallace didn't see this last week against Baylor. You move up 11 notches when you go from Baylor to the defensive unit at Nebraska. They just have guys out there who can run. They can run as fast as you can. And they come from the secondary. Right in the middle of the field, just going to come, and he's going to go after him. He says, now's the time. I'm the spy. I'm going after the quarterback. He's playing the spy in that defense. His job is to shadow Wallace. Forces him into a bad throw.
Well, after going 22 of 24 last week, Seneca Wallace has missed his last 7. He's been picked off twice in the process. Diedrich can't turn the corner. The junior tailback put down at the 23. So DeJuan Gross with the 2nd interception. Both cornerbacks with an interception now. Gross, the junior of Garfield Heights, Ohio.
Well, how does he get away from Ohio State? This area of the field really becomes Tracy Whiston time. 2nd and 10. You got a defensive secondary that is coming up, forcing the run. Look for your big tight end on play action.
2nd and still close to 10. Crouch calling it a block. Great footwork down to the 15-yard line. The extra running back, the quarterback, Eric Crouch, dropped by Matt Ward, the middle linebacker.
You know what? You hit it right on the head. He does become an extra running back, and you don't have someone to block for him. You see, he's the leading quarterback rusher in the country. L. Roberson from Kansas State did not have a good ball game this week. But Eric Crouch, you can count on him to do it week in and week out.
But no Nebraska quarterback has ever run for more yards. 7th overall in the Cornhuskers' all-time rushing list. Side formation. Diedrich bouncing outside, beating the containment. Will he make it? Drop just inside the 1. Almost his 2nd score of the night. Johnny Smith III makes the stop.
Number 10, Johnny Smith III.
Well, they're used to this around Nebraska. Pep boys looking at the numbers, the best record over the last 20 in NCAA play, Nebraska and Oklahoma, along with Oregon, Miami, and Virginia Tech.
I think Oklahoma would tell you that they've also won about 18 in a row. They lost 2 and then went on 18 in a row.
And a monster win for Oklahoma today over their arch rival. Crouch dives. Does he get there? Yes, I believe so. Officials coming in. He put his arms up early.
Looked like he was well in the end zone.
Yes.
There's a
touchdown, Nebraska. Turnovers killing Iowa State. And special teams haven't helped either. So Eric Crouch with another touchdown. So many on his career, looking for his 30th win as a starter. He's 29-5. And Josh Brown off the upright, and it doesn't go through. So just about a perfect beginning. 20-0. Cornhuskers on top. Upstairs we go. Eric Clemens.
All right, we saw Eric Crouch and the damage he can do. He's a legitimate Heisman candidate, but one milestone you mentioned, Joel, 30 wins as a starter he's after. If he does that, he becomes the 31st NC2A Division 1A quarterback to have that many. Also a chance to move into the top 5 in Nebraska's remaining games. And he says, get this, I haven't even played up to my potential yet. It's danger for anyone if he ever does, guys.
He's got the potential to also play a minimum of 7 more games. Possibly 9 if they go to the Big 12 title game and a national championship. Can't get out of the backfield once again. Bingham dropping the running back, Ennis Haywood. 29-5. Amazing numbers for Eric Crouch.
And there is Turner Gill, former quarterback for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, giving him a little, get the ball in the end zone a little more often. You look good, win the Heisman Trophy. Just kind of reading his lips right now.
And the quarterback on the other side. Nebraska made some recruiting phone calls to Seneca Wallace when he was at Sacramento City College. Pressure again on Wallace, and down he goes. Chris Kelsey gets him the left end.
You cannot cut good quality players down near the ankles. Fantastic play by Chris Kelsey. Just goes airborne to get to the quarterback. Watch the cut block. No, I'm not getting cut. Ennis Haywood tries to go a little too low. You got to hit these guys up in the chop. Make them at least run over you.
And Chris Kelsey wearing the same number 57 that his brother Chad wore. The Huskers rush in from 95 to 98. Iowa State needs it. They go to the respective corners. Do they have a good cut man? What a start. First the return off the interception. Keogh Craver, Dietrich untouched. Couple of early scores, 20-0 Nebraska after 1. Into the second quarter, and welcome back once again to Lincoln, Nebraska. Joel Myers along with James Lofton. 20-point lead, dominating performance by Nebraska, and it seems like a huge difference in overall team speed.
And I think that is what has affected Seneca Wallace the most. Last week, he had wide receivers who were open down the field. He did not get the same amount of pressure while he was in the pocket, but Nebraska has just been getting after him. We talked to Craig Bowl, the defensive coordinator, and he said, we need to be aggressive. We need to become the black shirts that we were in the past, and you're seeing it exhibited here in the first quarter.
They've been all over the football, capitalizing on mistakes. Now Seneca Wallace trying to do it on his own. Will he make it to the marker? Yes, and he gets it across the 30. What an individual effort. He's brought down by the rubberback Deion Booker, showing Eric Crouch kind of speed at quarterback.
Penalty flag on the play.
There is a flag down. Face mask at the end of the play. Tack it on. So more yardage coming up for Iowa State.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense. It'll be a 15-yard penalty, first down.
How big was that? 3rd and 21, and they convert, James.
You know, we saw it last week, but it was Eric Crouch who was pulling the Houdini routine in the same location of the field, 95 yards. This time Seneca Wallace steps up, but we talked about the overall team speed of Nebraska. They've got guys who can run, and guys are on the horse going after them. But a great play to get them out of the hole.
And now Iowa State saw something. Seneca Wallace did not like the look in the secondary on first down. Will they be able to battle back? Plenty of time left. Our FedEx air and ground numbers so far in the contest. Iowa State hurting themselves with turnovers.
So you can take those stats and throw them out there in the corn.
2 interceptions early of Seneca Wallace, who's done a good job. So many of the yards on the ground belonging to the Iowa State quarterback. He's got the single to Dennis Haywood in the backfield. Leads the Big 12 in rushing. His 10th in the nation and battles his ways. It looked like they had him after only a 2-yard gain. He gets 5 to the 46.
You know, guys who aren't tall, you know, they list themselves maybe an inch taller than they are. Haywood, listed at 5'11", does a good job when he's going through the line of keeping his shoulders low, and he stays below the pad level of the defenders.
Last year he led the Big 12 at 127 yards a game.
Is that $132 a year?
Right.
A game this year?
132 over the first 3. Can he get to the marker? Didn't quit. Still got a couple. Des Moines Adams, the right end, got him, but boy, it looked like another loss, and he still gets that little lean at the end.
And it's the nice thing we talked about, the low center of gravity and getting everything out of every play, because he could have easily gone down behind the 45-yard line here, but he's fighting, and then he fights and sticks that ball out, so he gets a little extra yardage here. If he were taller, he would have got 2 yards instead of 1.5 yards.
You never let up. But you're an equal opportunity guy. 3rd and about 3, close to 4. Wallace setting up the screen. Forget it. Deion Booker belting the running back Haywood from behind. Booker, a senior from Oceanside, California. Brother Michael started for the Huskers, you might remember. 95 and 96, defensive MVP at the Fiesta Bowl. Deion doing a solid job in his 2nd season as a starter. Keo Craver waiting for the punt from Tony Yelk. Could be a busy night for Yelk. Craver across the 10. DeAndre Phillips down there gets to him. So good coverage. Nebraska, another long field. We'll have it outside of the road. 13 when we come back. On Fox Sports Network in Lincoln, Nebraska. 1st and 10 is brought to you by the American Red Cross. Please help the American Red Cross assist the victims of the terrorist attack and their families. And you can help by calling right now 1-800-HELP-NOW. 1-800-HELP-NOW. Or by visiting redcross.org. Joel Myers, James Lofton, Eric Clemens at Memorial Stadium. 244th consecutive sellout, 77,000 plus. Thunder Collins in the backfield on the pitch out from Eric Crouch. A nice cut back by Collins. Will anybody catch him? He's run out of bounds. Touchdown saving tackle, Johnny Smith III.
That was all Eric Crouch. Got up to the line of scrimmage, called an audible, looked at the defense, said they're vulnerable on my right side. Go at them, and you commit to the quarterback. You have no one for the pitch man. And it's just a matter of how fast is Thunder Collins. Well, he's pretty fast. #1 from Los Angeles, California. Went to Manual Arts High School. Got him out of junior college.
With that name, you better be fast.
Oh, yeah.
It's all the way to the 42 after the 45-yard run. A career best for Collins. Not out of breath. Battles his way and lays some lumber on Adam Runk, the strong safety.
And that's what they want to see out of Thunder Collins. Came in as a speed back. They wanted to see if he could bring the Thunder.
Sounds like thunder to me. Where's the lightning now? We'll do without it.
Yeah, the skies are clear.
Another first down of the carry by Collins.
Double wing again.
Davies pounding his way down to the 26 for a little more than 5. Judd Davies, a sophomore from Omaha. 3 carries now, 61 yards early in the contest for Thunder Collins. You're talking about the double wing. I asked Frank Solich about it yesterday in our meeting. 436 yards for Ohio University. The Bobcats barely losing to Iowa State, 31-28. He goes, we got a few wrinkles in there, using a wing.
They did pick up a few wrinkles, and there are things that they don't do often, but they just said, okay, they worked against Iowa State. with our personnel, they can work even better.
Dietrich back in there in the eye with Davies. Crouch following his lead block for a first down to the 17.
See, you must be in the huddle because that play is just called quarterback follow left. You fake to Davies as if you're going to do the option, and then you have your eye back, lead through the hole for you, and then you have to try and tackle Eric Crouch. It's almost too much for a defensive unit because the middle linebacker's there and saying, okay, Davies is coming at me at 240. Now the running back is coming at me to block me. Then Eric Crouch is coming at me with the ball.
Coming up next, Joey Harrington, number 7 Oregon, matching up with Arizona in Tucson. That's up next. College Football Saturday presented by Kia Sarah. Darren Dietrich. What a block downfield. He gets it inside the 15 to the 13, wrapped up by Matt Ward. You know, we were talking about Crouch following his lead block on that previous play. What impressed me, and you hear it from Wistrom, you heard it from his head coach yesterday, Frank Solich. He said it's not his athleticism, it's his leadership on and off the field, the way he sets an example.
And here's a guy, you go back to his freshman year, was almost ready to lead the team. Bobby Newcomb was named the starting quarterback in front of him. Frank Solich went and said, come on back, let's work this out. Maybe you can play receiver, maybe you can play defensive back. But he said, no, I want to be the quarterback here. And you can see what he's done with his chance.
Second and about 6. Davies wrapped up early, only a yard. These time-consuming drives really wearing out Nebraska, aren't they?
Yeah, not wearing out Nebraska.
I was waiting for that.
These guys are used to time-consuming drives. I think about almost 33 minutes of clock time per game that they're used to. Now, Davies is a big fella. He has not been as explosive this year as he was last year, but you can see Nebraska's offense very balanced. 3 yards passing. Okay, you like that one.
You know what, I'll tell you something. Frank Solich told us yesterday, and there's a timeout. Frank Solich told us they'd like to throw it 22 times, 23 times a game. It just hasn't worked out earlier this season. We'll come back. We'll send you back to Kevin Frazier in our College Football Saturday studio with a preview of the Nissan halftime reports. He's got it first and goal inside the 5. And welcome back once again to Lincoln. There's the wingbacks we were talking about.
Collins and Davis.
Judd Davies, the single, and Crouch audibilizing. Keeping it for himself. Beating the containment. Touchdown, Nebraska.
That little stutter move where he just freezes guys should be outlawed. I'm a defensive player. You can hurt yourself on defense like that. Eric Crouch will put his head down, but it is that little stutter fake that he has. And really, that stutter fake is developed in the weight room. Get the great lower body strength, and you're able to do that.
Josh Brown will go for the single, even though they missed the last one. It hit the upright instead of 2. And a line drive, barely good. Looked like one of mine off the first tee. 27-0 Nebraska, the second quarter. Another touchback after the kickoff, and a long one from Josh Brown. As we head back to the studio, let's check in with Kevin Frazier for an update now on the Nissan halftime report. Kevin, and a very long first half, Kevin, for the Cyclones of Iowa State, trailing by 27 already. Haywood, he's in the back, and we still have 9:26 left in the second quarter. Haywood, heels in it. 92, you can see him jump out. Justin Smith to slow him down.
And that's what they want to force Ennis Haywood to do, to try and go wide against him. It's not that he doesn't have speed, but his best speed is in between the tackles. And he's such a powerful runner. If you can string him out, get him going toward the boundary, it's to your advantage.
Ennis Haywood, real honest, he was not recruited all that heavily in the Big 12. Iowa State, the only one showing really interest. He's out of Carter High School in Dallas. Is Craig Bohl, the defensive coordinator. He has to be pleased with the way his defense has performed so far.
And that was his happy look.
Loss of 3 back with the 17. Seneca Wallace in trouble. Good night. Dropped back at the 10-yard line. J.P. Wichman, the senior from Shawnee, Kansas.
What a great job in coverage by Deion Booker, number 14. They were trying to hit the crossing route to Lane Danielson, and Booker dropped down from his free safety spot and took away that crossing route, and it forced Seneca Wallace to just eat the ball. I mean, he's looking, his guy's open, then all of a sudden he sees Booker jump in front of his guy. Smart job, pattern recognition. They noticed the formation. They said this is where they like to run the crossing route. Booker did a nice job in diagnosing that play.
So they've lost 10 on 2 snaps. 3rd and 20. Inside of 8 minutes left in the half. Wallace going deep. What a catch. Danielson's got it. And he's got a first down. What a toss in stride.
Yeah, right. I mean, the catch was okay. The throw was fantastic. And a pressure throw. I think if you put Seneca Wallace in his end zone every play, that's when he functions the best. We saw the scramble out of the end zone. Here he's right near that end zone line. And this is great touch on the deep ball. Everybody has an arm where they can throw the ball out there a long way, but enough touch to throw it away from the defender, and a nice catch by Lane Danielson. And there's our guy, Keo Craver, coming off his guy to make the tackle.
Safety came over. It was too late. Haywood scrambling his way inside the 45, the 44. About 3 on first down. Our Domino's trivia this evening: Nebraska 85-3 at home over the last 14 years. Can you tell us the 3 schools that have beaten the Cornhuskers? 85-3. That's not fair.
A lot of times when you ask a question like this, it's normally the school that's present. I can't remember Iowa State beating them at home, but I don't think anybody's old enough to remember Nebraska losing a game if they're 85-3 at home. Although you might be, Joel.
2nd and 6. Too tough, but as I said, equal opportunity off the fingertips of his tight end. He was trying to get it to Kyle Knock. And he's got room on the edge.
It's another crossing play where you're kind of picking guys, rubbing them off of each other. And here's Jamie Burrow. He's in coverage. He's thinking it's got to be another run. He's in a chase mode right there, and he's happy his guy didn't catch the ball.
Seneca Wallace, most of the 58 coming on the last pass play to Lane Danielson. And now 3rd and long. A long 6, almost 7. You're down by 27. Every 3rd down is critical, especially in plus territory. The opponent's 50, other side of the 50. Wallace too tall. Trying to get it to Jack Victor. And Whitford, not a big guy at 5'11". It sailed. Pat Ricketts on the coverage.
Nebraska steps up in the line as if they're going to blitz, but they just bring 4, and they get great pressure from their front 4. You see the loop around there, and college football is a little different than pros. They let the quarterbacks take a little more punishment, and Whitford really tried to get up for that, and he took some punishment at the end of the play.
The elk in to punt it away. Keo Craver, not DeJuan Gross, waiting back deep. The wobbler hits on the sideline, and it worked out well off the side of the foot of Yelk. It'll go out at the Nebraska 8. 92-yard field, though, hasn't bothered them so far, has it? College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper makes the world taste better. By Kia Zera, one company, countless solutions. And by Wendy's. If you want to eat great, even late, remember, Wendy's rules the night. So Nebraska getting the ball back at their own 8-yard line. Eric Crouch coming off the best game of his career. And what a beautiful night in the upper Midwest, Lincoln, Nebraska, where football is a religion. Tonight we're in their temple, Memorial Stadium. Across the 10, out to the 12, a gain of about 4 for Darren Dietrich. So don't forget, tomorrow another Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. It all starts with America's #1 pregame show. JV, Terry, Howie, and Chris get you ready for kickoff. Then Randy Moss and the Vikings look to win their 2nd straight while they battle Leroy Glover, the dominating Saints defensive unit. Brett Favre and the Packers look to stay unbeaten. They'll battle Warren Sapp and their rivals, the Buccaneers. Other regional activity. Coverage all starts noon Eastern, 9 Pacific on Fox. 2nd and 6. Steve Krewald, the freshman, Scotia, Nebraska, in there. Crouch, believe it or not, he's throwing the football. And his wing, Thunder Collins, has it for a very short gain, up to the 14, a gain of about 2. That's the first time we've seen them throw out of the wing set like that with a wing on each side.
And when we talked to Frank Solich, and you mentioned about the 20 to 22 times that they'd like to throw the football, when you get ahead like this, the clock really becomes your ally. But also that defensive unit, they start to hug up on you. They start to hug up on you. You have to be able to loosen people up, and you also want to be able to display a passing game so that your opponents fear you. And believe me, you are going to need to be able to throw the football at some juncture during the season to win the Big 12 championship.
Here they throw it here on 3rd and 4. Crouch on the shovel pitch. Thunder Collins has the first down to the 24, and they did not give that play away early, did they?
That was a little razzle-dazzle. I mean, you had motion, you had counter movement, and Eric Crouch did a nice job in being patient enough to get the ball to Thunder Collins. Because you know the play is going to be there. You get back and say, okay, now. All that is a reverse option. He's used to pitching like that. And downfield, these guys block, they work. John Kelm, number 19, gets in there. He cuts his guy off his feet.
Crouch wants to throw. Out of the reach, though, of Thunder Collins.
A little more touch on that. I mean, he threw that one a little too much on the line. I mean, he was anxious. He knew that Thunder was going to be open. He was wide open when they ran it in practice. I mean, just hurried himself just a little bit.
Well, Eric Crouch has said usually at this time of the year, he's feeling a bit fatigued, but each of the last 2 off seasons, he's had shoulder surgery, and he says this is the first time in a long time I've really felt 100%.
I think they're feeling good. They got a lot of guys in that huddle right now, and I think that's throwing Iowa State off a little bit when they run guys straight from the sideline and line them up.
Crouch after the play fake with Dietrich. First down. Across the 40 to the 41. Let's check in once again with Eric Clemens. Eric.
All right, guys, you know, Iowa State trying anything to fire up the defense and get a stop here. Defensive coordinator John Skladany called everybody, starters, reserves over, had a big huddle and for a pep talk. And then after the last Nebraska extra point, the head coach goes out there and says, hey, you guys aren't getting off the field quick enough. We got to get something going here. And they have to do it against a very, very dominant Nebraska offense so far.
Once again, Nebraska with another formation. I mean, this is called 31. 3 on the top, 1 on the bottom. Eric is just running this with perfection.
All day for Crouch. Wide open. Another first down. Going to his wide receiver, Wilson Thomas. The junior from Omaha, huge guy, 6'6", 215.
Well, Anthony Forrest, number 17, he's in coverage. He falls. And then Wilson Thomas, the receiver, he falls after the catch. So there must be a hump out there in the field turf that nobody knows about. You saw the defender go down, and there's Wilson Thomas going down.
Wilson Thomas did not play football until his junior year, James, in high school. He was a high jumper.
Big-time basketball player, too.
High jumper, long jumper on the track team. Also the basketball that you're talking about. This started back at the 8-yard line of Nebraska. Final 4 minutes. Another shovel pitch. Worked once, works again. Thunder Collins close to another first down. They stand him up right at the marker at the 32. Well, Nebraska scored 63 in the first half on Iowa State 6 years ago, but the Iowa State program has changed considerably under Dan McCarney.
We talked about the double wing, and here's Thunder Collins. He's going to come inside. The other back is going to go here, and then outside, and Eric Crouch is going to come this direction. That's a lot of drawn, and all it is their reverse option. Normally, Eric Crouch is going down the line with somebody trailing him. Now he's going down the line and somebody's in front of him. So it's a very easy and natural pitch for Eric Crouch. And there's Dan McCarney going, hey, they running that play. Those other guys ran the play against us. We didn't stop it then. We got to stop it now.
It's hard to believe Nebraska's actually down this year in rushing over their first 5 games. They're number 2 in the nation, 275 yards a contest. They led the nation last year, though, with 349 yards a game.
Well, the only thing, when you run that shovel pass, that's not a run because it's pitched forward. So that's a passing play. So their passing numbers are going to be up a little bit.
They got the first down by the length of the football.
And I think when you look at a program like Nebraska, you tend to quibble a little bit. And in the local papers today, I saw it in 3 different articles mentioned by 3 different individuals, head coaches, players. We want to dominate. Because sure, they had won, they were 5-0, but they didn't feel like they had put in a dominating performance as of yet.
First down, Nebraska, 27-yard line. And finally, they put down the quarterback, Eric Crouch. Our Domino's trivia, Nebraska 85-3 at home over the last 14. The 3 schools that have beaten the Cornhuskers. The most recent, the Texas Longhorns. Washington and Colorado, the other two over the last 14 seasons. It's a 17-game winning streak coming in tonight.
Those are my
for
next
Nebraska.
3 guesses after Iowa State.
Iowa State has not won in this ballpark.
I know. I missed on Iowa State, but my next 3 were those 3.
1977 for Iowa State. It'll be a monumental comeback that's going to happen tonight. Crouch on the option. Greenwald, the lead blocker, didn't even touch anybody. And Crouch is in again. Touchdown, Nebraska.
How good is Eric Crouch? As good as any football player in the country. I mean, we get a kick out of it if it's a little 5-yard pass and the wide receiver runs 30 yards with it. But here's a guy who does it the old-fashioned way. He earns it.
There's the quarterback's coach on the sideline. Turner Gill doesn't have to say too much to Eric Crouch, does he?
Nope.
He does it so efficiently. Brown for the extra point. Splits the uprights. Cornhuskers looking more and more like number 4 with a bullet by that number 4 in the nation.
Offensive line gets off. You see Tony Finotti out there. You see number 19, John Clem. And it really is about decision making. He has to make the decision, do I pitch, do I go? When there's a hole that big, you go, you lower your shoulder, and you get in the end zone. Watch this stutter move. Watch him break that guy down. Boom. I mean, those guys need to double tape their ankles when they play against Eric Crouch. And when he was in high school, he was second in the 100 meters in the state championship. He lost to his own teammate, Eric Sweeney, but Eric Crouch can go, go, go.
Longest run in Nebraska history. 50 career scores, new NCAA record, 50 career rushing touchdowns. A new NCAA record for Eric Crouch. And will he? Where will he be right now if he stays healthy?
There's my vote right there.
You've got him in the box already.
Oh, yeah.
A very impressive performance, and he admits he got off to a bit of a slow start the first 2 or 3 games and then picked it up against Notre Dame and Missouri the last 2. Not how you start, how you finish, as they say. Phillips going back deep with Hiawatha Rutland. This is only game 6 for Eric Crouch. Phillips putting it on the ground and did hit the goal line, but they still say didn't cross. Ball still in the end zone, touchback. Iowa State starting for the 4th time at their own 20-yard line in 5 possessions. Coming up, should be a great matchup down to the Arizona desert. Wildcats, John McAfee, first year as head coach, taking on another Heisman Trophy candidate, Joey Harrington, the quarterback for the Oregon Ducks. Number 7 Oregon taking on Arizona. College Football Saturday, presented by Kia Sero, continues right after our game here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Last 2 drives for the Cornhuskers, short ones, only 87 and 92 yards. What a night. Michael Wagner back there with Seneca Wallace with 2:31 to play in the half. Wallace has been their best weapon. He's out of bounds with a gain of a yard at the 21. Ricketts over there, the sophomore from Omaha. Nissan, Nebraska numbers on their last scoring drive. 92 in a little less than 4 minutes. Crouch doing it at will right now.
Is he not sweating?
You know, they compared that 95-yard run that we just saw. Most of the coaching staff, and these coaches have been around here forever.
Right.
That's the longevity and the seniority is incredible here. They compared it to Johnny Rodgers' touchdown against Oklahoma, the punt return back in 1971.
But that was in black and white. Johnny Rodgers.
2nd and 9. 2nd and 9 from the 21.
Nice catch. Nice catch.
And what a grab made by Lane Danielson, sophomore from Dike, Iowa. His is a heartwarming story, a tough one too. His mom died last May 14th in a car accident. Got there in time to see her though.
That's a Chris Carter type catch.
Super hands by Lane Danielson. Blitz on Wallace. Doing a good job just to avoid the sack. Mania Brown, the freshman from West Valley City, Utah, all over it.
Where is the pass protection? You've got big guys up front. Number 91 just runs through there like nobody is even thinking about blocking him. And really, you just get beat mentally. The center steps left. he comes to his right. It's not going to make the quarterback very happy.
Craver waiting for the punt from Yelk. We talked about the way they use their starters on special teams. You could hear the huffing and puffing for Craver. He's not going to the sky, and they block the punt. Laying out to get it, and boy, it almost looked like he was untouched. Tony Hasselbrook, the wide receiver. All areas of the game involved tonight for Nebraska.
Yeah, but nothing to lose for the Cornhuskers. You have them in the territory that you want. Even if you give the ball back to them, man, they're not going to be able to move it against you. So let's go after them, get it, you split them. He didn't even get this ball off his foot. But a nice job laying out, going to the block point, not going at the punter.
And you saw Thunder Collins pick it up. Another guy who's played a lot tonight after the block by Hasselbrook, the junior from Lincoln, a former walk-on.
I think that was McPherson who picked it up. They've got double numbers here. They've got so many guys suited up. And Solich told me, he said, we suit up everybody because that's the reward for playing and working here, all the walk-ons.
Crouch a yard, wrapped up by Bo Coleman, the junior from San Diego. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 9. Final 90 seconds of an overwhelming performance by Nebraska. This is an opponent that's 3-0. Has taken 12 of their last 15. This is not your average walk in the park. Iowa State has played very well this year.
Iowa State's 3 previous games, they had given up 28 points.
In scoring defense, they came into the game 5th best in the nation.
That may change a little.
Happens every year about this time in Lincoln, doesn't it? Crouch with Collins.
That was played well. That was played extremely well.
Forced him to the boundary out at the 2, or out at the 7 rather. Anthony Forrest out of Fort Worth, Texas, the redshirt freshman.
And if you wonder why that can't be done every play, it really boils down to one guy in the interior line beating one of the linemen and getting an edge on him, creating pressure, making Eric Crouch get rid of the ball early so that your trail back, he's accounted for, but you're not going to beat their offensive line very often. I mean, we talk about Tony Pinotti a lot, but David Balk, John Garrison, John Rutherford, Dan Waldrop, all these guys are great.
3rd and goal for Crouch. Well, they get there. Diving across the end zone, John Gibson. And they'll say no, even though the ball seemed like it was on the goal line. They won't give it to Gibson.
Extended that right arm, stuck it into the end zone. Let's take another look at that to see if he actually has it over the plane of the goal line before he hits the ground. He goes up. He's still on his feet. That looks like a touchdown to me. He's on top of the defender. He's not on the ground. That should have been 6 points, but you don't have replay. And you see the look in his eyes of disbelief. I was in the end zone. I was in there. And you got to understand, Mr. Referee, we don't get to catch a lot of touchdown passes around here in Nebraska. Our job is to block on the option and catch passes during warm-ups.
So, on 4th and goal, the offense is going to stay out there. Coming up for the Nissan Halftime Report with Kevin, Kellen, and Artie.
Now, it was a rout last year at 63-14. Maybe they didn't change the graphic from last year's ballgame.
14-3 this year, and they got the last 7 on a turnover in the last 2 minutes.
Now, that's not a rout, but the funny thing is a lot of people were thinking Texas because of what happened to them last year, but Texas could not generate the offense against a defense that we watched today that looked awfully good and awfully improved from their win against Kansas State the week before.
This was the week when we watched that game. Texas moved the ball between the 30s and then couldn't do anything else. Thunder Collins is the single. Crouch, quarterback sneak. Touchdown, Nebraska. Eric Crouch with his 4th touchdown rushing tonight. Making a statement, as James Lofton mentioned, to the Heisman Committee. Josh Brown in with the extra point try. And it's up to 41 and counting. The block punt by Hasselbrook set it all up for the short touchdown. But he's corralled completely. Getting down there early for Nebraska. Philip Bland. So the last 3 times that Iowa State has come into Lincoln, they've lost by 59 points, 63, then 35. They're down by 41 with 27 seconds left, matching a career high. 4 rushing touchdowns already tonight for Eric Crouch. He's got 100 yards rushing as well on 13 carries.
See a lot of smiles on the sideline for Nebraska, but these guys have to stay focused because you can't come out and play that loosey-goosey in the second half.
And as Haywood could do the final snap of the half, takes it out to the 13-yard line where he's met by Trevor Johnson, sophomore defensive end from Lincoln. And that will be the final snap of an overwhelming, dominating first 30 minutes of play for Frank Solich and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. The number 4 team in the nation looked every bit a number 4, if not a number 1. Kevin Frazier coming up with a Nissan halftime report. Back Eric Crouch wasn't needed all that much in the first half of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, leading 41-0. And welcome back once again Joel Myers along with James Lofton. And if Eric Crouch wasn't a top 2 or his free consideration for the Heisman Trophy Award, he is now after the first half.
Yeah, and really it's about getting in the end zone. That's what Eric Crouch does so well. 4 times in the first half. We saw the little stutter move there. Here's just a quarterback sneak. 51 career touchdowns rushing as a quarterback. That's an NCAA record. Guy has great speed, tremendous strength. You watch the defense, you wonder how come the other guys can't bring him down. He really is that good.
And the final one, 1-yard touchdown run that closed it out to our partner downstairs, Eric Clemens. Eric.
Well, as you can imagine, guys, Coach Dan McCarney of Iowa State did not expect to be trailing by 41 at the half with his much improved team, and they are improved. He had a determined look on his face as he led his team out. A big huddle at about the 10-yard line on the left side of your screen, and he looked at me and nodded. Not much time to talk with your team down by 41 points, but he's got to do something mentally to rally his troops and not let them get too down, even though they're way down on the scoreboard. Guys?
Well, you figure for a ball club that had won 12 out of their last 15 ball games, they had not been in this position. They hadn't felt this way, and the frustration is obvious on his face. But now what he has to do is refocus his team for the second half. He's given them the speech. It's 0-0. Let's see how we play. Let's see how we react. Let's see how we respond.
Yelk gets into it. Josh Davis waits for the second half kickoff, and he'll stay about 7-8 yards into the end zone.
Yelk's kick being down in the end zone.
FedEx ground numbers on Eric Crouch, and what about the direction and what Eric Crouch did, what he favored, James Lofton?
There you see the long run to the left. He had a touchdown there. It didn't go to the right much. Maybe he doesn't favor that, so you can see he's a little more conservative than being real moderate.
100 yards on the ground for Eric Crouch. On 13 carries, 4 touchdowns. As James mentioned, 51 on his career out of Millard North High School in Omaha. He's got Dietrich in the backfield as a single. Tight formation. Darren Dietrich, huge hole into the secondary. He's got 8, almost 9, up to the 29-yard line. Nebraska has a lot of practice at this. Big leads, running the clock. I'll look at the first half numbers.
You know, decent numbers for Iowa State, 151 yards total offense. The turnovers just killed them. They even won on time of possession. But look at the difference in starting position. And that starting position was what points, 41 of them on the scoreboard for Nebraska.
Nebraska started half the time in Iowa State territory. Out of their 6 possessions, 3 of those started on the Cyclone side of the 50. Thunder Collins is the motion man. Crouch with some heat for the first time and going for the bundle. Bumping Wilson Thomas out of the play completely on the sideline. It was Johnny Smith III. No flag, though.
Good pressure that time by Iowa State. That pressure throws the play action pass off just enough. Got a flag down.
Personal foul, roughing the passer on the defense. It'll be a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Late shot on Eric Crouch.
And they chased him around the whole first half. And this really is frustration. Your coach has told you, you just can't go after guys. Jordan Karstens does that. And he probably realized a step before he hit him that he was wrong, but he's, you know, I'm just going through with it.
Former 225-pound walk-on Karstens now up to 290.
He's from a town of 300 people. I mean, he probably had to get on a bus to go play high school football with some kids at another school.
And a good ride at that out of Bagley, Iowa. Crouch on first down out of the gun. Bullet. Nice grab by Thomas. Check it. Number 8, John Gibson, not number 9, Wilson Thomas, their top 2 receivers. Atif Austin tried to keep up on that little turn in.
And just really enough arm by Eric Crouch to throw through the coverage. Here's Thomas. He's going to go down and in this area. And this is just a bullet by Eric Crouch. He goes right past the coverage. See him come underneath, and that ball just whistles right there, right on the hand. That's the way you throw it when there's nobody out there before pregame. That one was a bullet during the game.
First down all the way inside the 31 of Iowa State. Deep out.
Oh, he missed
going
this
for
guy.
Thomas.
He missed Wistrom. Wistrom was wide open.
And Wistrom has not been a factor tonight. Well, television's most unique brand of football commentary returns tomorrow with NFL This Morning on Fox Sports Net. And this week, Boomer Esiason takes a look at the Brett Favre Warren Sapp robbery on the Cybers Trader. Plus, Moose Johnston will check in for the Vikings-Saints game. NFL This Morning, pregame show that's not really a pregame show. That is tomorrow, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. Right here on Fox Sports Net. That's a really surprise. You brought it up. The senior from Webb City, Missouri. Wistrom doesn't have a catch.
I mean, that's not that big of a deal. You just missed him there. But, you know, I haven't had to throw the football.
Collins in the flat. Trying to stop on a dime. Got about 4 down to the 27. Matt Ward, the middle linebacker, caught up with him.
Yeah, on the previous play, you had Wilson Thomas come in motion from the opposite side. And here's Wistrom on the inside. Now, there's nobody back here. He's going to go to the corner. And there he is wide open. His quarterback just doesn't see him. I mean, you don't have all day. I mean, we're sitting up here, 250 feet above the floor of the stadium. And I can see that because I'm not pressured. I've got my jacket on. I'm nice and comfortable. Guys are running down your throat. You're not going to see all the guys in coverage.
3rd and 7 play. Plenty of pocket protection. And Thunder Collins cracked right as it came in at the 6-yard line. Double coverage there. Applied. Anthony Forrest laid the lumber on Thunder Collins.
Thunder's thinking that play worked a lot better in practice.
Sounds of the game. Down to the sideline. Thunder Collins headed over to the bench.
Is that all just off Eric Clemens' microphone down there? Is that the way that works?
He's in the middle of the huddle, too. They will go for it on 4th. They won't try the long field goal. It's 4th and 6. Opening drive the second half. Crouch on the option. And a good open field tackle.
Anthony
You
Forrest,
said it.
number 17. Yeah, that's a redshirt freshman. You know, guy who's going to be around the program for a while.
Cyclones will take over 1st and 10. The ball on the 24-yard line.
Rolling that shoulder a little bit, you get that little stinger in there. And he gets his head down. He's trying to wrap up. And Crouch does a nice job in spinning so he doesn't take the full brunt of the blow-on.
But you bring up a great point. Here's Forrest, a redshirt freshman who made the play. Start the game 0-0 and take this over to the next one. Whatever you do positive in the second half.
Big half for Seneca Wallace coming up to get his confidence back.
Danielson, the motion man. Hayward goes nowhere. He is buried in the backfield. Again, Chris Kelsey, who had a great first half, the junior from Auburn, Nebraska, wrapping him up.
He's got his motor running. There may be something about the Iowa Cyclones that he doesn't like, or maybe that he likes a lot, because saw the play where he leaped over Ennis Haywood in the first half, and that time they're trying to kind of bait him a little bit where they're going to run that quarterback option with the trailing wide receiver. He says, nope, I know where the ball carrier is. I'm going after him.
A loss of about 3. Make it 2nd and 13 back at the 21. Seneca Wallace barely getting the pitch off to begin with, but they lose more yardage. Couple of more. Kelsey all over the place, and that's the way it was in the first 30 minutes.
You know, sometimes you can diagram things up that you want to do defensively, but the players still have to execute them. And Chris Kelsey just beat Mike Banks in that play. And in the first half, It was Kelsey left, Kelsey right, chasing the quarterback down from the backside, and not only chasing him down, but putting a little hurt on him. And there you see his hurdling ability going over Ennis Haywood, and he's fired up, and that's the way you have to play defense. You have to play it with emotion.
Great size at rush end. 6'5", 270 pounds. And now 3rd and 15, just shy of the Iowa State 20. Seneca Wallace floating it deep. Great grab at the 45, turning around to get to it. Wide receiver Jamal Montgomery.
And if you go double slots, you would think that your center fielder, Deion Booker, could get to that. But you get a nice job, and he's looking left the whole way. He gets that ball out there quickly with some touch. He doesn't throw it too high, and he gets a nice catch by Jamal Montgomery. And the coaching staff really likes this guy. He caught a couple passes last year, and he's really come on. He's starting to play good football for him this year.
That was good for 30 yards. First down all the way to the 49. They needed it on 3rd and long. Haywood. Good first down chunk. Bedrell getting to him, the weak side linebacker, but a gain of close to 5.
You know, we've seen that long pass. Craig Bowl knew coming into the ballgame they were going to have to be able to defend that. You want contact at the line of scrimmage. Don't give the wide receiver a free release. Of course, your players have to have the speed to come up with, to be able to run with the wide receivers, and they have to be able to time the jump. He's there, but he doesn't time his jump. You see the receiver does a nice job in locating the ball. But Pat Ricketts played it pretty well. He was in position. He just needed a little more help from the safety.
2nd and 6, close to 5.
Over the middle. Oh, too high.
Too tall. Lane Danielson, and behind him a little bit.
You know, you get so anxious as a quarterback when someone breaks wide open that you almost want to hurry the ball. But the thing there is you have to read the defense early and see it before it happens. See, he's dropping back, and he sees him open, and he says, oh, I got to get it there, and he rushes, and that ball just doesn't come. He doesn't follow all the way through, and that ball leaves his hand high.
Now let's remind everybody, Seneca Wallace out of Sacramento City College, only on the road game.
This is
Ohio
week
University.
4.
Right.
This is week 4 in the maturation of Seneca Wallace.
Without a doubt. 24,000 at Ohio University. The only other road game. This 77,000. One of the most intimidating places to play. Wallace, he's got a lot of real estate in front. He's got a first down inside the 30, down to the 28 of Nebraska. Ricketts finally got to him.
Do you remember in the first half where he broke up the middle and he went to the boundary? That's not the good move. Stay in the middle of the field, get everything you can. Nice job by Steve Looney, because this is a design play. This is called, and he's telling him in the locker room at halftime, you know, if that running lane opens up, you take it. Because you getting a 15-yard run is just the same as you get, and there's Steve Looney, offensive coordinator. This is a great offense that they run, because it's not what you see everywhere else around this conference.
Down to the 28. Haywood banged right at the original line of scrimmage, the 28. Justin Smith leads the squad in sacks coming in. Getting to the running back first, the junior from Sherman, Texas. It was a great beginning. The first quarter looked like it was going to be Haywood's kind of night. First couple of series. Then the interceptions of Seneca Wallace and everything bogged down offensively.
It really did, because when we looked at the numbers, there were opportunities that they had to start drives. They moved the ball. The first drive they had a illegal procedure, then a loss on an option, and then the interception.
Give him a yard to the 27. Delay for Haywood. Breaking an arm tackle. Diving to the 20. Short of the first down by 2. Tripped up by Keo Craver, the cornerback. Positive frame of mind despite the score on the board. 41-0 Nebraska. Just about halfway through the third quarter.
It's funny, you go to a ball game, whether it's high school, college, or Pee-wees, you notice that the cheerleaders rarely look out at the field. Because if they were to look out at the field and see their team losing, they wouldn't be real cheerful. They have a job to do. It's to cheer the fans up and to be positive.
Iowa State, 5 of 11 on their third down tries. 3rd and a couple. Haywood cutting it back. He's got the first down.
Power running.
Got it to the 17. First down, Iowa State. And we remind you, 1st and 10 is brought to you by the American Red Cross. Please help the American Red Cross assist the victims of the terrorist attack and their families. You can help by calling 1-800-HELP-NOW, 1-800-HELP-NOW, or by visiting redcross.org.
In the red zone, when you have a quarterback like Seneca Wallace or Eric Crouch, it gives you that extra dimension because you can cover the wide receivers, you can cover the tight ends and the running back, but you can rarely account for a good running quarterback.
Play fake for Wallace. Behind his man and drop. Could have been intercepted by Keogh Craver. Wanted Craig Campbell. Tough one. Needed to square his shoulders maybe a little bit more.
After he was 22 out of 24 passing last week, Dan McCarney said he still needs to improve. And one of the things you need to improve on is your mechanics. That's poor mechanics. I mean, you throw a football and you fall down, you're not throwing properly. He needs to get those shoulders turned. And as you go to your left, you need to be heading toward the line of scrimmage. So the first thing he has to do when he's rolling to his left is get a little more depth so that he can turn those shoulders and throw that ball up the field.
2nd and 10, Cyclones outside of the Nebraska 17. Wallace wanted to run it. You could tell that early. Reversing his field, trying to pick up blocks, and does get a couple of blocks outside of it. 20, 15, 10, 5, he's there. Touchdown, Seneca Wallace doing it all on his own.
Fantastic individual effort. It was a design run. Deion Booker, number 14, came up, closed the running lane that he wanted to, and Jeremy Schlechter, number 56, fights up off the ground. You're going to see him come back into the frame later without his helmet on, and he's still going after him. I mean, that's desire, but it's more desire by Seneca Wallace to get in the end zone.
Tony Yelk in for the point after. What an individual effort. He picked up some blocks after he reverses his field.
Do you stick your head in there if you don't have your helmet on to make the tackle, though?
I'm headed south on that play. Yelk splits the uprights, and finally Iowa State is on the board. A 17-yard touchdown run by Seneca Wallace. 7:28 to play in the 3rd. Nissan checking Iowa State's scoring drive. The Cyclones moving 76 yards in 11 plays and a 17-yard run by Seneca Wallace. Originally, he wanted to go on a quarterback draw up the middle, then left. Well, didn't work there, so I might as well go right. There. Josh Davis waits for the kickoff now from Tony Yelk, the redshirt freshman.
I like this configuration here. It doesn't allow the defensive unit or the offensive unit to figure out who they want to block. You stack them up, you move them around. That's a scramble.
It is definitely a scramble. It may not make any difference, and it won't.
He's got some leg.
Really gets into it. So Nebraska, for the 2nd consecutive time in the 3rd quarter, will have it 1st and 10 at their own 20. College football Saturday on Fox Sports Net. Brought to you by Dr.
Last drive, Nebraska took to the arm of Eric Crouch. They let him take his legs off a little bit, but see if they get back to the power football game again.
Diedrich in the backfield gets it on 1st down. Past the 21 to the 22. That last touchdown by, or maybe Judd Davies, that last touchdown given up by Nebraska, the first they've allowed over the last 10 quarters. And you were talking about the team defense of Nebraska coming in 3rd in the nation in scoring defense, giving up only 7 a game. So they're right at their average with 7 to play. Oregon, Arizona coming up next. He is here. College football Saturday will continue on Fox Sports Net right after our matchup. And a Heisman comparison.
Yeah, you get to compare
Great
and contrast.
idea.
And this guy does it his way and very unique around the country, Eric Crouch.
Shovel, Thunder Collins, the wingback, dragged down very quickly by Anthony Forrest. So Anthony Forrest getting the opportunity, the redshirt freshman, to see some snaps in the secondary, and that's what happens when you do fall down by the deficit that they're down by early.
A very minor thing, and they will go over this with Thunder Collins in the meetings. Run through the tackle. He's just starting to shake and break down a little bit. You're Nebraska. You run. We saw him run over somebody early in the ballgame. You need to continue to try and do that. Good defensive stop.
Crouch right on there. 3rd and 2. Yeah. And Iowa State building a little momentum at the defensive end.
Nice play by Justin Ellers, number 44. And he's the leading tackler coming in. And we asked them, who are your guys? He said Justin Ellers, 44, Kevin Durandi, number 99, and Mark Timmons. And we've seen Anthony Forrest come up, number 17, and make some good hits. And this is a team that listened to that halftime speech and said, okay, it's 0-0. We're going out there to play.
They're about to get it back after the punt by Kyle Larson. Only his second punt of the night. Michael Wagner going back deep. No pressure. And another good one by Larson, like he's done all year with a 45-yard average. Super coverage. Keo Kraber downfield. Frank Soldic said, if my starters, and I want them on special teams, they want to down off, I want them to take them down off regularly out there on defense, not on specials. Pays off again.
The field here at Memorial Stadium. You know, Iowa State trails 41-7, 5:21 to go in the third. But Coach Dan McCarney talked to us earlier about how to rebuild a program like Bill Snyder at Kansas State. First, you got to have a plan in place. Second, you got to have the faith and stick with that plan. And three, you must embrace a commitment to excellence. His team keeps on fighting, even though they trail by a bunch here in the third quarter, guys.
All right, Eric down by 34 with 5:21 to play in the third. Get it back after the first touchdown drive of the contest. Ennis Haywood scrambling out of the backfield for a couple across the 35 to the 37. Not a shock to see Chris Kelsey wrapping him up again.
And to kind of follow up on that rebuilding program, because they have rebuilt this program. They were 9-3 last year, won their bowl game, ranked in the top 25 in the country, and part of that is also recruiting. They have recruited very well. I mean, they've gone to the talent-rich areas of Florida and Texas and gotten good players out of there, and they also want physical toughness. So when you're down 41-0 at halftime, it's not only mental, but it's physical toughness, coming out and laying it on the line.
2nd and 8 from the 37. Wallace, he's got his receiver, Lane Danielson, and he's back close to a first down. You're talking about the 9 wins last year, that 9-3 record. The 9 wins, the most by an Iowa State team since 1906. In fact, it was their first winning season since 1989, and it came in the 6th year of McCarney's regime.
It did, and you know, they had some lean years. There were years where this program could have gone the other direction, but when you go in his office, you know who wears a coat and tie every day? So do his assistant coaches. It's that commitment to excellence. You want it from your coaching staff to the players to the equipment men to the men and women who are working around that complex, and he gets it from them because he gives it himself.
Timeout called offensively. We'll come right back and see if the drive will continue for Iowa State on 3rd and short in their own territory. Tomorrow, well, Eric Crouch, a landslide winner for the Heisman. 4 touchdowns on the ground tonight. He's got better than 100 yards rushing. All-time career leader at Nebraska. Rushing by quarterback Seneca Wallace, doing his best imitation on 3rd and inches. Gets a yard for a first down. So they'll move the chains. Iowa State keeps possession of the football. And let's check in with Eric Clemens. Eric.
All right, guys, time for the Rent-A-Center game summary. And you spoke about Eric Crouch, Joel, 103 yards rushing, 84 passing. That's, 187 total yards with those 4 touchdowns. Thunder Collins has been thundered tonight. 4 rushes for 62, 5 receptions for 33, and Nebraska right now piling up the total yards. They lead it by more than 100 with Iowa State marching the football. But again, they haven't quit so far here in the second half. They're making a good effort, guys.
And a nice wrinkle on using Thunder Collins as a receiver in that little wingback position.
Seneca Wallace on the move. Campbell's there. Craig Campbell bringing it in. The senior from Santa Fe Springs, California. Down to the 17 on the reception.
Talked about Seneca Collins, Wallace rather, getting his depth throwing. This time he gets those shoulders turned, and it's quick little steps when you're going to your left, and he floats that ball extremely nice. His receiver gets a hand on the shoulder of the defensive back, not enough to push off, but enough to locate the ball. Nice job by Craig Campbell, number 19, coming down with that. Campbell had a 53-yard touchdown against Nebraska last season.
Got 3 in that game. 53, 39, and 35-yard receptions. Ennis the Menace has not been much of that with a flag down at the end of the play where you normally see a holding call. It came from the linesman right at the feet to one of the offensive linemen. Only 2 on the carry. Vedral made the stop.
Look, we had Zach Butler holding on John Clanton, number 55. That's just good hustle by the defensive guys. So fight past the block.
Holding on the offense. It'll be a 10-yard penalty.
College Football Saturday presented by Kia Sarah continues from Lincoln, Nebraska. Midway through the third quarter with the number 4 ranked Cornhuskers dominating Iowa State in the first half. 41-0 at the break. Now 2:52 left in the third. Iowa State finally on the board. And now moving in the wrong direction after the mark-off. The heartland of the country. Now one of the great places to watch college football. Memorial Stadium for the 244th consecutive setup. Now Wallace in a spot where he may have to throw early and often.
And here's
in this
the guy
possession.
watching Eric Crouch. Number 14, Deion Booker. He's watching Eric Crouch. He's watching Seneca Wallace.
Wallace with Danielson coming back on it. Good yardage inside the 15 down to the 13th for his 8th completion in 20 tries. Next week, it's going to be a doubleheader on College Football Saturday presented by Kia Sarah. First, Oklahoma quarterback Nate Hibble, 3rd-ranked Sooner. Visit Lawrence to take on Big 12 rival Kent. We'll be there, James. Then the Arizona Wildcats battle Ken Simonson and the Oregon State Beavers. A packed-in showdown. It all starts at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, right here on Fox Sports. And will Nate Hibble be the starting quarterback after the way the youngster Wright played today? 13-yard line. On 2nd and 7. Seneca Wallace looking back. Touchdown, Iowa State. He waited, showed patience. And the score. Lance Young's first catch of the night. The sophomore from Beaumont High School in St. Louis.
A lot of things went wrong for Iowa State during the first half, but they have battled back. And Seneca Wallace, you can see the composure in this young man. Why Dan McCarney and Steve Looney, the offensive coordinator, are so high on him. And what they do by moving him in the pocket, they create a different launch point from where he throws the football. Because he's not the tallest guy, but he is so quick and so elusive that when you move him, it scares the defense.
Tony Elk in for the point after. Minute 44 left in the third. And back-to-back long drives by Iowa State, a pick-me-up for a group that needs some confidence. And Iowa State gaining that on the road at Nebraska in the third quarter. But last year, talk about tough starts tonight. Well, the Cyclones got off to a rough start in last year's Insight.com Bowl. The matchup came against Pitt's Antonio Bryant. Iowa State answering back after Pitt got the early lead. Sage Rosenfels throwing 2 touchdowns to Chris Anthony. Later, Jermaine Billups returned his first ever collegiate punt, 72 yards for his score. That sealed the Cyclones' first ever bowl victory in their 5th trip.
Did you notice that they doused the coach with water, not Gatorade? Because those Gatorade stains are hard to get out.
You think of everything.
No, that's the equipment man. He gives them the water. He says, don't put the Gatorade on the coach.
Yelk ready to kick it away to Josh Davis. He blew it right through the end zone last time. Sends out another beauty over to the far side. No return again in Nebraska for the 3rd time in the third quarter, starting deep in their own territory at their own 20-yard line today in the Big 12. Now, what a year it is for the Big 12 Conference. Beating up on each other, unfortunately, at the Cotton Bowl. Oklahoma prevailed for the 2nd consecutive season over Texas, beating them 14-3 with a late score off a turnover. Colorado upsetting number 12 Kansas State. What a defensive effort by Colorado today. Texas Tech beat Kansas A&M, knocking off Baylor by 6, and Oklahoma State handling Missouri.
In fact, there was a lot of defense played in the Big 12 today.
Crouch trying to get the offense going once again. Darren Diedrich hammered after he crossed the 23. And all of a sudden, Iowa State picking it up on both sides of the ball.
Well, and if you're Nebraska, you need to refocus. You had 41 points in the first half. When you ran the ball, you were successful. When you played defense, you were successful. On special teams, you were successful. You have to go in, get that enthusiasm back up, and play the second half. And you know, for Iowa State, they're getting a lot of guys in the ballgame. They've got Ellis Hobbs out there, a true freshman at cornerback, and he was one of the most highly sought running backs coming out of Dallas.
Crouch Finally gets it to his tight end, Tracy Wistrom. And the backside pressure, you could feel it coming on Eric Crouch. Gets up, limping a little bit. First catch of the night for Wistrom.
I mentioned Hobbs. He's the one who's in coverage on Wistrom. Wistrom does a nice job in selling the route to the post and then coming back out to the corner. And Eric Crouch is thinking, I don't get hit this hard when we run options. And that's Mark Timmons, number 18. And Timmons is only listed at 160 pounds. I think that's about how much he weighed in the 9th grade. Here's Jamal Lord coming in at quarterback.
Back up, the sophomore from Bayonne, New Jersey. And already he's ready to check off and change the play on a first down from their own 44. Running in the option. Dietrich, the late catch. Another first down. Well, Frank Soldick sounded very confident in talking about Jamal Lord yesterday and running the offense the next 2 years here, and I can understand why after he waited until the last second to get rid of it.
I was standing with Frank on the field before the ball game, and we talked about his quarterback situation. He said, I understand Eric's going to be gone, but I really like what Jamal Lord has done in working his way, finding what it works for him well in this quarterback position. Because Eric Crouch, the things that he did well, can't always duplicate those with the next guy.
Davies in motion. Dietrich inside the 40. Chopped down near the 38 by the free safety, Mark Timmons. Final minute as a flag goes down. Final minute of the third quarter. So Crouch appears to be okay on the sideline. Better than 100 yards rushing tonight. Career best 4 touchdowns on the ground. 51 on his career. An NCAA record for the position.
I think when he got that pass in to Tracy Wistrom, that his night was kind of done.
Dead ball, personal foul on the defense. It'll be a 15-yard penalty, first down.
I know in college football you don't name the player who did it, but to give us a little more descriptive terminology about what happened. I mean, did somebody get kicked? Was there a punch? Was it a late hit? I would like to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Crouch for president, you have to be 35 to run for president. Joel just barely squeaks in there.
The over-under. I'd like to be under. Jamal Lord in trouble. Showing his escapability almost. Tracked down, though, by Justin Eilers, the weak side linebacker, staying at home. And that is the final snap of a productive third quarter for the Cyclones of Iowa State. Finally got on the board. Their catalyst, Seneca Wallace. No surprise. The touchdown run of 17 yards and the toss to Young. 2 scores in the third for the Cyclones. Fourth quarter, and welcome back once again to Lincoln, a commanding lead for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Joel Myers along with James Lofton, Eric Clemens down on the sideline. A couple of legitimate national champion contenders for the Big 12 Conference. Oklahoma, a huge victory today over their arch rival Texas, and now Nebraska is showing why they are in consideration as well.
And I think every season that Nebraska starts off, you have to wonder, is this a year where they can win the national championship? Well, on October 27th, part of that riddle will be answered as they face the Oklahoma Sooners. But tonight you have seen a team that can run the football extremely well. We knew that. They also throw the ball pretty well, and their special teams and defense are fantastic.
Specials have looked great tonight, as you bring up. Got the block, had good punt returns. Wilson Thomas on that carry from Jamal Lord as Lord tossed the ball to his wide receiver. Oklahoma's defense looked as good as last year in controlling Texas on the line of scrimmage today and shutting out Texas, at least from the standpoint of getting into the end zone.
And if Nebraska is going to beat them, some of these wrinkles that we've seen tonight, the double wing, the shovel passes to Thunder Collins and throwing the ball down the field, those are a must.
Lord buying some time with the scramble down to the 16 on 3rd and about 8. Willie Judd bringing him down with Matt Word.
Now when you see Jamal Lord at 6'2", 215 pounds, and a pretty quick guy, turn up the field, but the hole closes up, you see the difference between he and Eric Crouch. When Eric Crouch turns up the field, it's almost like a vapor trails behind him. I mean, everybody talks about how fast Eric Crouch is in the 40, but it's his what they call gap speed, his ability to run 10 yards faster than anybody else on this team that separates him from a lot of guys in the country.
Huskers on 4th and a long 3, short side of the field. Lord showing his speed. First and goal.
He took a wicked high-low hit there. I mean, Matt Ward takes him up high, and then number 8 comes in and just cleans them up. DeAndre Phillips just cleans them up. And that's the type of effort that you want defensively. You know, granted, they picked up the first down, and there's the gap. We talked about the gap speed, getting through that gap, but here comes a little gap speed on the other end, and they high-low him. If he had been a defensive lineman, that would have been a chop block.
First and goal, Nebraska. Crouch started the drive. Lord trying to finish it up. Gibson, the motion man. Lord trying to get away with the flag on the play and puts it up for grabs. It's intercepted by Jeremy Lloyd. And Lloyd pulled down by Steve Krewald with another flag at the end of the play. So a couple of flags. First could have been a hold.
Holding on the offense. The penalties declined. First down.
So Iowa State gets it back at the outset of the fourth quarter, but they also have to deal with an injury, unfortunately.
And you got Matt Ward, number 7, down, middle linebacker.
13:22 to play. Nebraska still by 27. Once again to Lincoln. Nebraska holding up their end of the deal. Oklahoma got it done earlier today. James Lofton, you were just talking about the matchup in Lincoln, October 27th, between Oklahoma and Nebraska. The two old rivals getting together once again in Big 12 play. And everybody in the city last night that we spoke to, boy, were they rooting for Oklahoma. They wanted it to be two undefeated teams when they get together. Hayward can't get out of the backfield, loses a yard. Seneca Wallace came in leading the Big 12 in passing efficiency. He was 12th in the nation. Not quite 50% today is FedEx passing numbers and the direction he's gone to.
Yeah, but he's had some big numbers to his wide receivers. They've done a fantastic job in going up for those deep balls. We've seen Lane Danielson do it. We've seen Craig Kelly do it. They have really adjusted well to the deep balls around down the field. And that's something that you get from repetition and practice. And he does have nice touch on his deep passing game.
9 of 21. Touchdown toss, been intercepted twice, 162 yards. Second and long, second and 11. 9 tackles behind the line now for Nebraska after that last one. Wallace going deep again. And great coverage down the field. Will there be a flag?
I think he was being held. Jamal Montgomery was being held.
Pat Ricketts had an angle on the play. Tough one to get to begin with.
Nice job by Michael Wagner, number 4, picking up the blitzer. Very nice. I mean, he upended him. And if you're going to go after somebody, you got to hit them right around the thigh pad because they're going to jump up.
Pass interference on the defense. The foul occurred more than 15 yards from the previous spot. Go back to the previous spot. 15 yards and an automatic first down.
Now, do you hear all that noise? There are 77,000 people at this game. It's 41-14 in the fourth quarter, and nobody's left. And they're standing on their feet watching this ball game too.
Plenty of contact downfield. Nobody is leaving. They'll be here. They drive good distances to watch their Cornhuskers. Omaha an hour away, and that's the short trip. From the 30, first down, Iowa State looking for their third score of the second half after their shutout at halftime, 41-0. Hayward buried again. Very little success with the ground game. A yard at the most to the 31.
But you have to run that so that your boots and rollouts work. So when you play action fake and you go the opposite direction, those defensive linemen, those linebackers say, well, they may run it. Because the one time that they decide we're just going to follow the quarterback, they get burned by a big run.
Postseason baseball starting just 3 days away on Fox.
Unfortunately, starting without the San Francisco Giants.
You're the only person in the booth who feels that way.
Well, you know what? We asked Frank Solich about it. He played baseball in '65 for Nebraska. We said, are you a big home run hitter? He said, well, yeah, I was kind of, because I was lifting weights before weights were popular. And Frank Solich looks like he could jack one out the yard now.
Here's Phil. Guy who's been in this program better than 20 years. Wallace out of the gun. On the run. Batted away. Barely.
That's great coverage in the secondary. What the secondary cannot do, they cannot come off their guys as Seneca Wallace starts to the line of scrimmage. What they've done very well, they've stuck well with the receivers deep, and the linebackers are shadowing Wallace because they have a spy on him. You used to see it with Steve Young when he played for the San Francisco 49ers because he ran so well. But Seneca Wallace will learn during his college career that he can run toward the line of scrimmage, and there'll be some teams that'll jump up, then he can throw, and there are also teams that are hanging back and saying, you got to beat us with your legs, not your arm.
3rd and 9 for Wallace and the Cyclones. The wide receivers. Pocket collapsing, there goes Wallace. Didn't feel the backside pressure coming.
T.J. Holloway.
But there was a flag.
It looked like half the guys stopped.
Some heard the whistle, some didn't, and they ran out of time on the play clock.
And the half that stopped were in the white shirts.
Delay. It's a 5-yard penalty. It remains 3rd down.
See, that official behind the quarterback is blowing that whistle. The guys in the red are going, hey, you know, we don't care about the whistle. We see the quarterback with the ball. We're going after him. He almost needs to step in to keep the quarterback from getting hurt. It's kind of like when boxers are about to break. Good referee steps in, and sometimes he'll take a left hook. That referee has to do the same thing for the quarterback to keep him from getting pounded, because that's an unnecessary shot on the quarterback there.
He definitely got it. Mark off at 5. It'll be 3rd and 14 back at the 26. 3.5 minutes gone in the 4th quarter.
I like the wide side of the field for my matchup of them going deep right here in the slot.
Over the middle. Good grab. Campbell's got it. But he doesn't have enough, or does he? It'll depend upon the spot. He's right at the 40.
Campbell never hit the ground. He's on top of a defender. He's right to continue to try and get up and run. I don't think his knee hit the ground. Now, I mentioned we're 700 feet above the playing field.
He's got the first down across the 40. He got a great spot.
He did. You get a great spot when you make a great play. You get some good contact in there. These guys are proving themselves a little bit, and it's going to pay off in the long run for this team.
Well, the long run for a run for the national championship for Nebraska. They've got 8 home games this year. 8 of their 12 here in Lincoln. That'll pay big dividends as well. First time since 1906 they've had 8 home games. Haywood banged around like a pinball. Basically no gain on that carry. Well, Barrett Rude, the freshman from Lincoln, on the stop.
Well, what they're doing, they're lining one-on-one on the receivers. So you have 3 wide receivers. 3 minus 11 is 8. The other 8 guys are occupied in that box. When they do that, Seneca Wallace must get to a pass play and get the ball out to the wide receivers. Don't let them line up with 8 guys in the box, because you can't run against that. You don't have enough blockers. See the 3 wide receivers, and now look at the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's a guy back there behind.
Wallace to the motion man. Danielson. Well, check it, Jamal Montgomery, 83, not 82.
Ball carried by Jamal Montgomery.
First time we've seen it, and about 5 for Montgomery.
Deion Booker, number 14, back here. He's going to sneak up. Hard to sneak up when you got a big red jersey on. They do a nice job blocking him from the wide receiver position, going in there, getting a little bump on him. Now it's one-on-one on the outside.
So 3rd and short, 3rd, 4.5 left to keep the drive alive for Iowa State. They're looking for their 3rd consecutive scoring drive. Wallace in trouble. And another sack. 4th sack of the night for Nebraska. That was a group sack. Smith was there with Casey Nelson. Let's go downstairs. Eric, what's the latest?
All right, guys, defensive end Tyson Smith, the sophomore for Iowa State, has a right lower leg injury above the ankle. Looks like a bruise. He was walking it off. He was repadded and taped to that area, almost the shin area, but he's really favoring it, not knowing whether he'll be able to return to the game, but he is trying to walk it off down here on the sidelines.
All right, thank you, Eric. Keogh Krever going back deep once again. We've just received word that DeJuan Gross, who suffered bruised ribs, he is not going to be back, and that's why he hasn't been back the last couple of times to return punts. The Big 12 Special Teams Player of the Week, Gross, with almost 200 yards on returns last week against Mizzou. Graber He's not calling for a fair catch. He doesn't get back there all that often. It's Gross's job. Kramer gets an opportunity. He'll make the most of it. DeAndre Phillips, the defensive back, the first one in on coverage. Nebraska's got it back. Cornhuskers dominating throughout the course of the evening. Individuals giving blood earlier today to the American Red Cross. We remind you, 1st and 10 is brought to you by the American Red Cross. Please help the American Red Cross assist the victims of the terrorist attack, their families as well. You can help by calling 1-800-HELP-NOW, 1-800-HELP-NOW, or visit redcross.org. Darren Diedrich across the 20, scrambling his way to the 21 for 4. Diedrich on the night for the Cornhuskers. He's got a dozen carries, make it 13 now for 85.
Oh, hello to Robin and Denise in New York, New York.
Working with the Red Cross in New York City. So the Huskers try to chew some clock with the inside of 9 minutes left. They have yet to score in the second half. Turned it down a notch, let's face it, in the second half. Jamal Lord, the backup quarterback, is in there. Option pitch for Diedrich. Big yardage. He's got a first down across the 30, brought down by Harold Cluess. And this sure pays off. When Diedrich rendered as a starter, but there's so many opportunities for Frank Solich to get other reserves in there. Diedrich approaching the 100-yard mark, and he's gone right to, well, a yard shy, 99 yards so far tonight.
And when Frank Solich talked about Darren Diedrich yesterday, he said, here's a guy who's had an ankle injury, and I have to watch him at practice because he's not 100%, but he still wants to continue to go, and it's that passion that fuels a lot of these Nebraska Cornhuskers.
He is their first ever scholarship recruit out of Canada. Lord giving it off to Krewald. Another freshman. Well, they do rule today. They've ruled in 95 and 97 national championships. Best year with Crouch here, 99, when they went 12-1, won their bowl game, finished number 2 in the nation. And Frank Solich realizes his senior quarterback gives him a great opportunity once again this year. Oregon, Arizona. Should be a super matchup in the Pac-10 coming up right after our game here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And as we mentioned, Crouch, a Heisman hopeful, just like Joey Harrington. So you can make your own comparison a little bit later tonight. Jamal Lord out to the 44, shy of the first down by about a yard, brought down by the weak side linebacker, Justin Eilers. The executive producer of Fox Sports Net is Bill Borson. Coordinating producers of College Football Saturday, Roy Hamilton and Gary Garcia. Tonight's game produced by Mike Helling, directed by Ken Fouts. College Football Saturday studio show produced by Loy Maxson, directed by Chip Terrell. And the senior vice president of field operations, Andrea Berry. This is the real Big Red Machine. What they had in Cincinnati in the 70s, they were okay, but this is the real Big Red Machine. Diedrich plowing his way for another first down across the midfield stripe to the 48. The consistency of this program. A couple of stumbles early in the early 60s. Bob Devaney took over in 1962, but by the mid-60s, it took off for good.
Is it 35 or 36 straight bowls that they've appeared in?
I believe it's 36, or 35 actually. That's 244 consecutive sellouts. This will be their 18th straight home win since their loss to Texas here in '98. And it's actually 32 consecutive bowl appearances. We're trying to add on 3.
I gave them a couple extra.
They deserve it. Jamal Lord has another first down for the Cornhuskers down to the 37 of Iowa State. Andrew Moser combining on the stop, the outside backer along with DeAndre Phillips. Lord looks like a good one, just like his coach told us yesterday. He selected Nebraska over Syracuse. It was down to those two schools, and Syracuse, of course, with a Donovan McNabb and other quarterbacks like that, they like to run the option attack where it's run first, pass second.
And Eric Crouch is listed at 6'1", Jamal Lord at 6'2". I would venture to say that Lord is more than an inch taller than Eric Crouch.
Lord's got 24 yards now, James, on 5 carries. And in the backfield with his first carry of the night.
Grigsby, isn't it?
DeAndre Grigsby.
Now, DeAndre Grigsby, 5'8", 205 pounds. He doesn't give you a lot of body to hit. And that's just like a little muscle running through there.
Powerful back. So they just keep bringing him in, as we mentioned. They go so deep, and Frank Solich told you, I dress everyone. They all will get the opportunity. They've got a great walk-on program here. Tough to win a black shirt. If you remember the defensive squad, Lord on the play fake, and it didn't fake out. Jarrett, who made the stop. Paul Jarrett, the redshirt freshman, right here in Lincoln, Pius X High School. And he's got the sack.
I was reading the local newspaper, Pius X High School, 70 points last night.
Well, it's like Texas. How many of these people, the 77,000 that are here tonight, were at another game last night?
Definitely.
Good percentage.
Watching their kids or friend of the family go out Friday night football.
And if you dial on the radio here, you hit Seek on the AM dial, you don't get very far. It's game after game. The heartland of the country. It's a passion. And what a successful one for Eric Crouch and the Cornhuskers. Saturday night in Lincoln. This college football Saturday presented by Kia Sarah on Fox Sports Net continues. And if you're into football, Lincoln, Norman, Austin, it's about as good as it gets. Great places to watch college football. Standard has been set a long time ago, and it continues. Tough for Big 12 opposition, and tougher over the last couple of years than maybe ever before. 4 teams in the top 11 out of the Big 12 just a couple of weeks ago, as Lord runs the option with the late pitch. Going to Grigsby, young man from Central High School in Omaha. How many players have come out of that high school to this program? Phillips and Mosier again in on the hit. Last night, James, were at dinner. The establishment we're at, the marching band is there. The marching, I mean, the place is just going crazy. But the band's there, singing the fight song. Stuck around for a long time, too, didn't they?
And there was an alum from about the class of 55 there dancing with the band. Do the math.
Robin Miller's first carry. He bolts for a first down inside the 25. Everybody's getting involved now for Nebraska. Nebraska has used 8 players to run the football tonight.
And you look at a guy like Robin Miller, and I'm scanning our roster. He's from Kent, Washington, so he didn't walk on here. He's probably a scholarship athlete, but the quality of athlete that they have at I-back is tremendous here. Look, they put 2 guys into the pros last year, Dan Alexander, Correll Buckhalter, and then they just reload with more guys this year.
Grigsby breaking tackles down to the 16, and Buckhalter only got 9 starts in his entire career here, yet he made the most of it, waited for his senior season. Now he's given the opportunity due to the injury to Deuce Staley with the Philadelphia Eagles, and Buckhalter finished 8th on their all-time rushing list, so it paid off.
There was a little wall that we walked to get to a meeting room yesterday, and they had pictures of Nebraska players who are in the pros lining that room, and you almost forget how many guys constantly come out of here and make it into the NFL and play well at the next level.
Robin Miller's the I-back. Jamal Lord keeps it, diving down to the 13. And time now for a Dr. Pepper game break. Let's head over to Kevin Frazier. Kevin, that is a surprise that Ohio State is pounding Northwestern to that extent.
You have to be ready to play every Saturday. We saw that with Kansas State today, not ready to play against a very good Colorado ball club.
Grigsby down to the 8th, first and goal.
And that's a team that Colorado, week 1, they lose to Fresno State, and everybody goes, oh, Colorado's in the dumper again. Now they've won 4 in a row, and people are saying, check your schedule. When do you play Colorado? Because it looks like they're getting better and better and better each week.
And do you think they'd like to take that 3rd down back where they could have run the football in that first game against Fresno State? A field goal would have won it.
Certainly.
Threw an interception instead. Lord to the 5. Final 2:20. No doubt about it who our Dr. Pepper player of the game is this evening. All-time NCAA leader with 51 career rushing touchdowns for the position. 4 tonight. Our Dr. Pepper player of the game, better than 100 yards on the ground. New Nebraska record as well. Rozier had 49. It's an incredible story. His 3rd season as a starter, and now as a starter, his 30th win tonight too. Don't forget about that. He's 30-5 with this program. Opportunity And they chop down the running back, Grigsby, again, near the 1-yard line.
And you can just
don't
tell,
think that young man wants a touchdown?
But the crowd wants it too, because you could hear they're all waiting to erupt one more time.
So one final snap, minute 25. It'll be 3rd and goal. May need to. Robin Miller's going to get the opportunity, or will Lord keep it himself? Miller is the I-back. It'll be Miller going up top. And he's in. Touchdown, Nebraska. The young man you were talking about from Kent, Washington. First point to the second half for the Cornhuskers.
Showed some hops there. It's kind of a lost art going up over the top. Marcus Allen was so great at it. Sam the Bam Cunningham, who played also for the University of Southern California.
359 yards rushing on 54 carries tonight for Nebraska. Santo DeAngelis in to punch it through. His first opportunity of the night. The redshirt freshman who was their starting place kicker over the first 3. The last 2, Josh Brown has taken over. So Nebraska getting on the board with 68 seconds to play. College football Saturday on Fox Sports Net. Brought to you by Dr. 75 yards a game on the ground. Tonight 359. 117 passing. What a night for the Cornhuskers. Eric Crouch 10 of 14 in the passing department. He was real efficient. We didn't talk about that aspect of it. 10 of 14 because he was amazing on the ground like an extra running back.
And a lot of them were that little shovel pass that they got off to Thunder Collins. So another wrinkle for your opponents to have to defend and look at on film for the next 3 or 4 weeks. Wagner
waits for the kickoff. Along with Hiawatha Rutland.
They let him bring it out this time.
It's going to be Rutland. A couple of yards into the end zone.
Well, he's a hard runner.
Paid for it around the 17-18, fell to the 20-yard line. College football Saturday presented by Kyocera with the Kyocera postgame report coming up. Kevin, Kellen, and Artie. All the highlights from the day's activity.
Just out of curiosity, how much coffee do you think Artie drinks during the course of a day? I mean, it's either coffee or Mountain Dew.
So you're saying it takes a while for him to hit the hay?
Yeah, I think so.
61 seconds to play. And Iowa State can take some positives out of the second half here in Lincoln, Nebraska tonight. They really did respond for their head coach. Seneca Wallace on the move. Trying to get it to his wide receiver Lane Danielson. Nissan Nebraska's scoring drive.
They put together some long scoring drives today. They got backed up. So, you know, the Iowa State special teams have done well. But you look, 16 plays, 83 yards with your backup quarterback. So he has to go in and execute, make audibles at the line of scrimmage, get the offense in the right play against the defense. So a good learning experience for Jamal Lord to get his team down the field into the end zone and to have to also do it on the ground because he's been told, don't throw the football.
Nebraska also had 87 and 92-yard drives in the first 30 minutes. Wallace has a first down for Danielson. So he's chopped down to the 35.
Wallace's pass complete to Danielson.
I think Iowa State has something to work with. You know, we talked about upcoming schedules, and they're going to face Missouri. They have to travel over there next week. Then they have Oklahoma State, Texas A&M to kind of round out the month of October. So here's a team that's sitting there at 3-1 with 3 games. You know, you're a 9-3 team with a bowl win. You've got to think, hey, we can win all these games and get back in the hunt for this Big 12 race because you don't go through this Big 12 undefeated very often. Oklahoma was a rare exception last year.
Wallace, like he has been all night, sometimes not by choice, on the move.
Nice
and
throw.
A nice throw on the run again.
I mean, that's kind of like the throw. You're covering, you go deep in the hole, it's short, and you make that throw back to second base for the put out, the force out. That's what he did. It came across his body.
Lance Young on the receiving end, who caught the touchdown toss. The only one for Seneca Wallace. Wallace was 11 of 25 on the night for 191 yards.
Now the Cyclones get on a bus after this.
2.5-hour trip.
About 2.5 hours. I would say about a half hour into that Seneca Wallace would be sleeping.
Do you think it'll take that long?
This kid has worked tonight and worked hard.
Maybe 5 or 10 and he's gone. He really has.
Didn't set his feet there. When they watch the film, granted you're getting pressure late in the ball game. You've been running left. You've been running right. You still have to work on your mechanics. And they'll watch that and say, okay, set your feet. See the disappointment in his face because he knew he had something there. And that's what you want. You want a competitor in. And here's a guy who we mentioned he went to Oregon State out of high school and they put him at cornerback. He transfers to junior college. He's going to play wide receiver. Well, the quarterback gets hurt and he becomes an All-American quarterback at junior college, and then the recruiting war starts for him.
Here's a first-team junior college All-American. Turner Gill made some phone calls. But in Nebraska, to recruit somebody from a junior college, as the Nebraska coach has told us, Jamal Montgomery's got another reception. It's tough to ask a guy to come to Nebraska because he may have to wait a year.
But I thought that Craig Bowl paid him the best compliment. He said, if you just call him athletic, that's not the way to go with him, because this kid really, really does throw the ball well. And Iowa State used a timeout there. It's about getting your quarterback snaps, getting him experience. We talked about this is week 4 for Seneca Wallace. You want to get him better. And there's some teams that they get a backup quarterback in the game late in the game, and they're throwing deep. So you get your quarterback some snaps.
Now, Frank Solich has a bit of a perplexed look across to the other sideline, wondering why a timeout was called. Second half of the 90s, they belonged to the Nebraska Cornhuskers. First of 3 Husker titles came against Miami in the Orange Bowl as Tom Osborne finally got his due. Next year, Tommy Frazier ran all over the Gators in the Fiesta Bowl. And back at the Orange Bowl, a couple of years later, Amon Green, Scott Frost beating Tennessee. There's Amon Green, running well now for the Packers after starting his career with Seattle. But final one in 97, that would be Coach Osborne's grand finale. Congressman Osborne now. Frank doesn't look real happy with the last timeout call. A snap, and that should do it. They get the first down. Maybe one more snap with 12 seconds.
They're going to try and line up on the ball and get another snap in. Think they might throw deep here. Got bump and run. Well, they're backing off a little bit now. This guy's only 5 yards off.
And a spike. This is a coach that wants to give his quarterback reps.
If I'm a Husker fan, I don't like what's going on, but I don't boo the competitors out there.
They're not quitting, even with 9 left to play. They want some snaps. It's a quarterback, as you mentioned. It's only his 4th game in the Iowa State program. And it's almost like the Huskers players are trying to calm down their coach right now.
Trying to give him a little neck massage there. You can see the tension. Yeah, you better back off the coach there. There's Dan McCarney, and he's grinding. He's grinding right now. He's trying to see what his players are made of.
Let me tell you something. Dan McCarney's out there in a short sleeve shirt and with a flag down to the play, and it's in the mid to low 40s now.
Delay. It's a 5-yard penalty and remains second down.
Nebraska raises their record to 6-0. Iowa State will fall for the first time this year. Their record at 3-1.
You know, they'll look at the scoreboard and say, well, a little lopsided, but we competed.
Seneca Wallace in trouble. This isn't Boston College, Miami, is it? And they finally get to him outside of the 30. It's finally over. It is still a perfect season for Frank Solich and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And that will do it for us from Lincoln. Nebraska 48-14 after leading 41-0 at the half. Stay tuned. 7th-ranked Oregon coming up from Tucson, Arizona, matching up with the Wildcats right now, though. First, we will send it back to the studio and rejoin Kevin Frazier. Kevin.